I'd like to get started. The women, if anybody doesn't know this, the women at the Olympics won the gold medal in hockey today. That's a big thing in my little world.
And figure skating.
And figure skating.
Yes.
Wow,
Women's figure skating.
that is pretty awesome. I would like everybody to do me the courtesy of silencing your phones while you're here, if you don't mind. And
I'll
I'll
call
bring the meeting
select
to order.
board too.
Perfect. Planning, community development and conservation, boards and commissions.
We'll skip out on the conservation, cause that's not ours,
Okay,
so.
Oh, yeah,
Alyssa
Yep.
will handle that.
you're up.
Nope, we put a budget, request in, which you guys can see, the fiscal 2027 budget request. For the planning board wages, we were trying to get our, stipends restored to what they were in '08. We reduced them for the last 16 years, and, we thought it was time to restore it. I see that the recommended went to what it was in the past. I don't have an issue with that, I don't think, no, we were fine with that. The planner's request, we reduced it about $1,800, just to be more in line with between 25 and 26 to 91.8. See, the request is for 66, and my understanding was that was for 32 hours. We'd like the FICOM to take into a thought that we really want a full-time planner. 40 hours a week is what the planning board is requested with the 91.8, which was what between what Dave George had made and what John Carver had made. So instead of a 32-hour position, we felt 40 was enough because of the not only the planning support, but community development, economic development, and some support of the RDIC with Harmony Place if questions came up. So that was the reason why we did the 91.8, and so I guess we somewhat don't agree with the 66,327. So we just wanted to come to FICOM and say we really like that back up to a full-time planner. That's our request. And then the next one we had was the planning assistant. The board has been tasked with a new bylaw called stormwater permitting process. All properties over an acre have to have stormwater permits now, which is approximately $1,000. So A&Rs, any properties built in subdivisions have to have a stormwater permit. And that 26,000 was for an assistant that would be handling that, and we felt that would be self-funded, because with the $1,000 a permit, that's 26 properties, and it funds the assistant, which would be handling all the permitting, because there's a lot of documentation right now that's required for the permit and also to track it. So that's the reason we'd ask for the assistant to help with the permitting process that's required by the town. Other than moving right down, the CMRPC, we'll have to get a final number. We just put in 3,005. CMRPC, Janet will get us that final number. I think it might vary a couple $100, but that's it. I don't expect it to be more than the 3,250 from fiscal year 2026. And then the other thing we asked for is there's been a lot of requests for the planner and for planning board and for committee members to attend $50 online or training sessions. So we put in a $500 request for basically training and any training functions through CMRPC and or anything from the state. And that's basically our budget, so ask away, questions?
The planning assistant piece, you said that's mostly for stormwater support?
Stormwater support, because there's a lot of documentation, we were expecting that. Our basis for the 26 was a part-time, and it most likely will, if we get 26 parcels, that's A&Rs, anything, at $1,000 a piece, it would self-fund that assistant, and anything else would be extra that would go back into the general fund.
If I may, I believe that has been moved over to the stormwater budget itself. That permitting piece is in the stormwater enterprise. And that the permitting would be handled through the Department of Public Works.
How's that possible when it's handled, when it's owned by the planning board, by the bylaw? I'm confused.
I can look into the rationale, but
Please do.
that's where the money is located.
What bylaw are we talking about?
Stormwater management bylaw that was put into place in the fall town meeting? Fall town meeting.
Okay, I have that. But in that,
And the rules and regs for that indicates that the planning board's responsible for
and that's
permitting.
in that bylaw?
Yes.
Yeah, so the applications go to the planning board for review, but all of the administration and processing is handled through Public Works. So the intake would go to Public Works would log those permits and, send them off to planning board for the planning board's review, which is, as you're stating, is under the planning board's purview, and then back to DPW for the issuance and the other administrative.
I don't wanna get into the weeds on that, but then is the DPW gonna be responsible for enforcement then? Cause in the bylaw, the planning board's involved for enforcement. It's the weeds, I get it.
Yeah, no, but from a dollar amount, the administration portion of that is in the stormwater enterprise fund. You'll see that line item there.
Okay.
Could, if I may, where this is a discussion, I'd like to see a copy of the bylaw. So if anybody has a copy,
I have it pulled up right now.
They're on they're part of the bylaws, they're online, but I will certainly send out a link to the website.
And then Harry, there's regulations that go with it that we pass too, that's regulations that are attached to the
I'd like
bylaw.
to see those too. Before I start saying yes or no to budget items, I'd like to see exactly. And no, nothing against you or Heather, just,
Yeah.
I like to verify that that's what it is, because there are some situations where some bylaws do or do not apply, so that's why I wanted to.
Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
Is the 26,000 that's shown on this sheet the same as what's in the stormwater one?
My eyesight is just not as good as it used to be.
It's $3,000 in the stormwater tab under, I guess, DPW, so the stormwater enterprise
Yes.
has a assistant wage of $3,000.
Assistant of 3,000, not
Right,
26.
But I think that's separate, that's for their other general administrative,
So
so.
then who would be picking up?
So that would be supplemental, obviously existing DPW staff is already funded through your general budget. Through your,
So they think that the $3,000 is gonna be sufficient to do all of the stormwater, including these permit things for
yeah, I mean,
100 hours.
if we get 3, 4, 5 permits per year, I mean, this isn't gonna be a high volume.
I'm sorry, but just what Tim said, that every
I'm just-
lot that's an acre or more has to, and we're only gonna have new build of 3 or 4 houses?
So from what, I can only tell you what Weston and Sampson has relayed to me, that and they're the ones who put the bylaw together. They're stating that the majority of our building lots. It wouldn't, they wouldn't necessarily qualify for application under this bylaw. I'm here to talk, I'm focused on the money part. I'm happy to get into the application of the stormwater bylaw at another time, but
But as we said, until we
Yeah.
know for
Yeah.
sure, is our real cost gonna be 26,000 or is it gonna be 3,000? So
but you have to keep in mind that it's gonna be handled by the internal staff that is already being paid.
Well, okay, I
So
have an
here-
issue with
yeah,
that.
here's my question is, there's no job description for what this position is and exactly what it would be, so I think we need to start with what that is to see is this administrative where DPW staff could absorb versus
Yeah, let's soak
support
this one in a
for,
little bit, I think.
Okay.
so I think we need more details on what this new position request is and what specifically they would be looking for.
The other issue I have is, if this is coming out of stormwater, everybody in town contributing to the stormwater, or is it coming out of water and sewer?
No, everybody
Because
contribute.
my concern is, if I'm paying for it out of stormwater for a salary, then, and it's not being appropriately charged, I have a problem with that, you know? I don't want to pay for something that I don't have to pay for.
Agreed.
If the plots, A&Rs, for example, they're not on water and sewer, but were they on stormwater?
It could be.
But they're not now.
No, they're not now. No, the
So-
stormwater bylaw just went into effect
Right,
as of
so the
January.
stormwater is being charged to me and I'm paying for it, so maybe they, if they're not, then they're not paying the stormwater. So if we're taking money from them into a storm to pay for somebody to oversee that, I guess I have a problem with it going into the stormwater fund. Because it's
everybody-
my money.
Well, everybody in town pays for the stormwater if you own a piece of property, right? So,
But,
correct,
Okay.
that's a given. Everybody pays a number,
It's
but
going into enterprise.
it's going into an enterprise fund right now.
Right.
How that all comes out and the details of this, I think we need to clarify them, because you were right with what you said earlier. I don't know. And I wanna make sure that we know the fact, and Heather's nodding that she's gonna get us facts, and that'll work out good.
The only thing I can tell you with the permitting process and that cost is separate, it's a fee that's defined in our regs. And that would only be assessed when the permit was basically actually, when they submitted it, that fee would be required.
and where would that fee go to?
Right now, we intended when we put together this, we're going to support an admin that was gonna be taking care of it.
I mean, what fund does it go
But it
into?
has to go into does it go into the stormwater enterprise?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it goes into the enterprise fund. And again, I guess I have a problem with that long-term, and that if we don't collect the amount of money and we've hired somebody in the enterprise fund, we still pay them then. We don't reduce their hours or their pay if we don't have enough money covering that $1,000 that's coming in.
Right, but
So I have an issue with that.
There's a difference here, though. The bills that go out for stormwater go into the stormwater enterprise account.
Yes.
The fees that they're talking for permits, you're talking what would go on, if, what you have proposed here would go to the planning board under your, where you normally put your fees and permits.
No, it would go, my understanding from the bylaw, it would go into, we thought, again, it hasn't been worked out, it's only been operational for hasn't been used yet. Would go into a stormwater enterprise fund, but we thought it'd be a separate account.
Separate.
Separate fund, yeah.
But there isn't one, there's only one, right?
Yeah, so
Correct.
we have to figure that piece out, because
Right.
this as it is coming from general fund budget. So if it's something that's gonna be paid out of either the existing or a separate stormwater enterprise account for whatever purpose, that's what we need to figure out.
And the other part of that, you talked about enforcement, that doesn't jive in any of these yet.
Right.
Alright, let's let Heather do some,
Yep, I didn't wanna get into the
Yeah.
weeds, I just wanted to explain why we were
From a
trying.
financial standpoint, I'm concerned from the dollar value,
Absolutely.
where it is,
Yeah.
what's
I
happening.
think another piece to learn, as Jen said, what is the job description? Because it sounds like
We were looking
if
for
we
that.
we could have somewhere between 3 and 26 maybe permits, I don't know, whatever that number is, but what needs to be done with those permits? And do you need to have a planner that's 40 hours a week now to do all of the legwork for that and get it all prepped to be able to bring to the planning board to talk through it and be.
So there's been some discussion about how many hours here we're talking about the planner. Right now,
are we moving on to the planner?
well,
Well, we already talked about it, but.
right, but are we?
It's been brought up.
It's been brought up, but so we can have discussion about this now, right? Everybody agree? So the planner, I'm bringing this up. In the budget, it's 32 if this all passes,
Yes.
and if it doesn't pass, we're not gonna have one.
Well, there's the, I guess what you call that, the emergency budget for the town is like 12
Yeah,
hours,
it's
I
12
think, or
hours.
16,
It's-
something like
Yeah,
that.
that's what.
That's the
it's on the paper
21,000.
we just got to.
Okay.
It would be reduced to 12 hours.
So,
But just to clarify, we have a department request,
yeah,
which is the 91.5,
Yep.
which is you wanna
12
do
hours.
somebody 40 hours,
40
and that's the
hours.
91.5.
Yep.
And then the TA recommendation 66.3 is for 32 hour?
I'm guessing so, yeah.
Okay.
But that's specific to conversation on the job description that was updated and the expectations for that role, and it's my understanding that 32 hours was deemed the necessary need for that role.
So do we have
By
32 hours of
administration.
work? I guess where I'm going, do we have 32 hours of work for a planner?
Got more than 32 hours.
The two previous planners worked 40 hours a week, didn't they?
Yes, correct.
With,
John was 40 hours. I don't believe Dave George was.
Dave was 40 hours at 85,000.
Was he full-time?
The job description process all happened prior to my coming to the community, but my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that job description was reviewed and approved by the planning board.
Not the hours, the job description.
so I guess where I'm going here, and why I know that they usually work 40 hours.
Yeah.
That's, I'm coming around to this. If everybody'd follow me for half a second. So we used to keep them busy at 40 hours. Because of everything that we're thinking of here, we have a recommendation for 32 hours.
Correct.
Okay, that's,
Do we? Not from us, but it was the.
That's what's
Oh,
That's
coming from the
That's what
office.
we're recommending.
yes.
So I just go back, Carol, you said 91.5?
So that's what that's what
91.
91.8.
91.8
On this
is,
sheet that we got, it says 90, I'm just asking you, this is 91.8.
I might have run it.
That's the request. That's
No, I
the-
know, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying, but you said it was 91, I just wanna make sure I'm reading the
91.8.
right sheet.
Yeah,
It's
91.8.
91,
Okay,
yeah.
no, okay, that's all.
Here we go, make it bigger.
Tim, how much did you allocate for that person that was gonna be taking care of the permits?
It was a part-time job, so we said 16 to 20 hours.
What dollar value do you in?
$16 to $20 an hour, somewhere in that range. It was basically an admin fees.
So the request was 26,208.
Yeah, that was.
26,000?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Harry, it's right below where it says FY 27 request, it's right below the planner's salary. at
26,208.
26,208.
So just also keep in mind, there'll be indirects for a position like that, because there's benefits and whatnot, so.
I guessed at 26 because I was looking at a typical, $16 or $20 an hour with benefits, and we were looking at 26,000. I mean, it could be, I was gonna leave it up to the
That's why I go
TA.
back to job description. We need to understand what it is and, make sure we're putting it on the wage scale at the appropriate,
Correct.
might.
And again, when
and
I
that
did
could
this,
change, so.
the bylaw hadn't passed,
Yeah.
we were right in the middle of it, so
Yep.
the planning board just came up with, we need an assistant and here's a number of part-time. So the benefits, we were looking to limit the benefits because it was a part-time position, not a full-time position.
I was just gonna say, for an assistant role such as that, I wonder if the administration and board moves that route, incorporating in some conservation work also, because I think with the Wetlands Protection Act bylaw and everything also now, that there may be some benefit to have, so not solely for stormwater and keeping it in the general fund, but then maybe out pulling
See if there's
salaries
some-
from the different funds to cover yeah. But again, that would be a further conversation.
Yeah.
Tim, on the thousand, when does that take effect, $1,000?
It was January 1, Norm, I think, is when the bylaw had to be, because we had to rush it through and get everything approved before December 31st, is because it took effect. It was requested to be effect by the state by January 1.
So that's in effect now for
It
this
is in
year's
effect
budget?
now, correct.
Okay. And
And we passed the regulations to go with it, and of course, we can modify those, the board can.
the number of homes that you expect, whether A and R, to be, I mean, I'm looking here at about roughly 27 homes. Is that a reasonable, that it can afford this, that we can afford somebody at 27?
Well, we've got R60 and R40, so R40 is 1 acre and R60 is 1.5 acres, so anything outside the R40 zone, from what our understanding is, again, we haven't done this, haven't pulled a permit yet for it, anything over 1 acre by the bylaws required to do a stormwater permit, so
So anything an acre and under?
a acre and above.
Oh, just not under there's no stormwater
No.
issue. Interesting, okay,
So,
Listed in Sampson Road.
okay.
So I'm gonna get a clarification on that, but I also just wanna make sure that the Attorney General's office has not signed off on this bylaw. We're expecting that, March 11th is when we hope to hear. I don't know how they know specifically what date that they're gonna sign off, but that's my last correspondence from the AG's office.
And they typically ask for 90 more and 90 more.
I know.
With those A and Rs, I mean, the house lots have to be over an acre anyways, right?
In the R40 zone, they're just an acre, but outside of an R60, you are correct.
Right, unless there's a piece of land that's been there for a long time or something that you're gonna get approved that's smaller, but, okay. So.
And there's other things that go with it.
So not development. 50 lot developments. Those they don't fall into the stormwater, we just pay the normal 15, we're paying for it. So there's no upfront, on a builder, there's no upfront.
Anything that's built now does not fall under this permitting, only going forward. So anybody that's got property or built property or in the process of building right now, I hate to use the word grandfathered, but it is. The permit starts with any new building permits that come in as of January 1.
Okay.
So
When do you collect the money?
When the permit would be applied for, just like a building permit.
Okay, so it's upfront, so to speak. That's what I was, okay.
And I guess I'm wondering, how are we gonna administrate this if we don't have people? Are you guys gonna handle
Do
it?
that, no, it's not our skill set. That's why, being that we're not full-time employees, that's the reason why Norm and I talked about, we really, and the board did, that we need an assistant to help the planner out, because we expected the planner with potential subdivisions coming in, and then monitoring the 3 subdivisions that we've got active, plus A and Rs, and anything else, bylaws that we have to help, the planner helps us with, and then then he or she's other portions, which is economic development. We felt this assistant was gonna be able to admin that, because we couldn't.
Would the town planner be able to do this job?
I don't, in my opinion, I think it'd be overloading them.
I mean, if you had a choice, yes or no, I mean, one or the other, I mean, we're gonna have to, I don't know how we're gonna get there,
Yeah.
but if it's this, another one of the state's unfunded
Unfunded
mandates.
mandates. With 40 hours, maybe, it could take 8 hours to do them a week, I don't know.
All we can say is, we had our 2 town planners for 40 hours a week, and they were busy for 40 hours a week.
Without.
This is something new, additional, and significant. So,
If I may, looking at the stormwater bylaw that's online, adopted by the planning board on December 9th, 2025, there is a fee schedule that includes a minimum professional review fee, so it seems like there's expectation that a lot of the review would be going out for outside professional review. And then in addition to that, there's application fees and submittal and filing and review fees also. So there are fees that are being collected, and it seems like there's an expectation that it's going to be outside
So would
reviews also.
the outside external review be a fee?
Outside engineer.
No, but would we charge that person
Yes.
that
Through the application process.
$500 or whatever that number is?
Thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
No, whatever that number
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
$500, $10,000. Whatever that number
And
is.
that's based on acreage, and this is online, this is in the,
Yeah.
and the fee schedule, it says it's adopted by planning board December 9th, 2025. And I assume it's official, but still pending, all of this, the fee schedule wouldn't be pending AG review, the bylaw is still pending AG.
But we're not the first town to do this, everybody's done this, yes, so, okay,
I will come back with more information.
that'd be great.
Question.
Mr. Chairman, the bylaw thing we've gotten over the last several months, the changes to the bylaws, so we have that. We got the stormwater thing that we voted at town meeting, we reviewed that, but again, putting all this stuff together, now we're hearing about a new hire and who, where the fees go, whatever. Shouldn't we have this as a package with all this information and laid out operationally also how this, so that we can look at it as a finance committee and then make a recommendation to the taxpayers at the meeting when we talk about it?
Well, I think that, yes,
Yes.
and I think the selectmen need that along the same.
I know, but I
trail.
think we should have it too to look at.
I agree, and for me, it's,
There's too many
I'm
moving
hearing,
pieces here.
there's too many moving pieces, and I'm seeing asks for things that we don't really know
Right.
what they might end up doing.
And who's
So I
gonna
think we
do
need to,
what?
we need to find that outline and that plan, so we can say, okay, yes, we do need a staff person. This is how it would be funded, so we can figure out all of that piece. It's like
And
I
where
feel
are
like we're
these
putting the
fees
cart before
going?
the horse a little bit here.
Where are the fees going? How they're gonna
Right.
get back to be used to pay whatever they're supposed to pay? But
Yeah.
we need to know all those facts so you can make
I
a reasonable
agree.
recommendation.
And through the chair, typically, the planning board hasn't done this. What we're presenting to you, that's always been the planner, Dave, George, John had always done that before us. We weren't involved in this, but because we didn't really have a planner, we had to step up. This
You had
really
another
isn't,
one too, right? Wasn't there a girl?
Delia, yeah, but she
Delia,
was
lady.
going before, we got to the, stage where, Seth needed, a budget, so. So we've sort of stepped up and did this piece where we haven't done it in the past, it's always been handled by the planner. Since he or she was staff, they took care of the budgets with the town administrator. So I apologize, we're not as prepared as we are, because this isn't something that typical the planning board would do, staff would handle this.
Yeah, but you would have to look at it and approve it. That's the planning board's job. Shouldn't, to present it to
Not in the
them.
past, it hasn't been.
How would
Well,
you
it's
do
been
it?
since day one, when the planning board is responsible for the planning board.
Yeah, but
You're not responsible for the planning board?
not that we were told from the last town
For
administrator.
the budget, no.
No, not for the budget.
Okay.
So the last town administrator did this budget for you?
No, John Carbone did and gave it to the town administrator.
Okay.
Only thing he discussed with us was the CMRPC portion of what that was gonna be.
So the planning board didn't approve the previous budget before it was submitted?
So can I ask a quick question about CMRPC? So you've got $3,500, $3,005. Has the bill been paid? Is it paid annually? So we have an answer to that question, I think, because the bill looked like it was for $2,931.88. So if
think
that has been paid, we could lower that to, round it up to 3,000.
I think last
if we wanted to,
year's,
but-
I think, so was this year's 29? Cause we put in, I think for, John had put in the year before 3250, and that's what, cause we get a, there's a schedule for all of the towns in CMRPC, and we get an allocated cost. And we just pass that through, typically whatever Janet gives us from CMRPC, we pass it through.
I think we got our expenses to date. and-
Well, there's some confusion.
$3,005 for FY '25.
Okay, great.
So
I think that's.
I'm gonna agree with Tommy. We gotta figure this out, and I'm gonna agree with Harry. We got some things to do. But under no circumstances, the planning board, or should they have to sign off without knowing what the budget is? And well, like Tommy said, so I don't know how that got to that point. I'm not sure that the present town administrator is doing the same thing. I don't know, but you guys are, like Tommy said, are responsible for it.
We didn't sign off on our budget last year.
What, our finance committee budget? Yeah, it's a big budget to sign off on.
Yeah, but we didn't sign off on ours because he took away our funding for the Association of Town Finance Committees.
That's been
Same thing here,
3 years ago.
cable.
Dave came to us.
It varies by who sits in what chair.
No, all we had was,
So I think I know the answer to this question. So it looked like, so the planning board or whomever prepared this budget had put in for an assistant. And it was removed under TA recommendation. Do we know why it was removed?
If I had to take a guess, it's because there wasn't backup documentation outlining the specifics for it.
Did they come back and ask you guys for that backup
Well,
documentation?
we put I put down in my notes, request for support staff to manage new stormwater permits. That's all I could put down. I mean, I didn't have anything else.
Yeah, that's why I'm asking, like, we need a job description, we need exactly what you're looking for, like, we need the actual justification for what the position, I mean, especially when we're talking about a new position, we can't just fund something in a budget for something that we don't know what that person's going to do.
So you just put in notes, were you presented a form?
No, I was given, Seth gave me this form and I just went in and filled it out and that's all I did.
That's what I'm hearing about a lot, I don't know if they got the form.
Yeah, I don't think no, they did not. So, moving along. We've got the town administrator's gonna help us out, make this not quite as muddy as it is, try to get it clear to iced tea. And then we'll move on from here.
Quickly, if I may, Carol, to your point, I looked at CMRPC's fiscal year 27 schedule. The assessment to Rutland would be $3,005.17, and that was adopted by the commission at the quarterly meeting held on January 8th, 2026. So that is a actual number in the budget.
Good.
It's just missing the 17 cents.
Yeah.
I knew what we paid for
Yeah,
26, so
I've got the
that's what-
assessment right in front of
Yeah,
me. $3,005
And 17 cents.
and 17 cents.
I was gonna say, we had 88 cents before, it must be cents.
I think I
So-
have that in a cup holder in my hand.
And I think everybody in the room, I think one of the things we have to remember in this whole process is we've moved forward with a new town administrator. And we have to have the spirit of cooperation from everybody with her, and she has to reciprocate. And I think we have to step forward from where we were. I don't think it was right. There was things in there that none of us agreed with, and there's things in there that some of us did. So let's move forward as we can. And I feel your pain, but let's go to your next one. Unless anybody has any more questions about this.
I did wanna to address one thing, Harry, you had brought up the town planner topic, and I just wanna clarify, I kinda would like to wait for Heather to get back here, because there's been a lot of question on saying we're not hiring a town planner. And, you know, Heather, there she is. Heather,
Sorry.
I would just wanted to address
I was just addressing the other situation.
Oh, no. I wanted to address the questions that have come up with the statements that seem to be out there that we are not hiring a town planner. And that I didn't wanna speak for you, but we had paused that because of the transition with Heather coming in. And then given where we are within the budget season right now, and the precariousness of whether or not we will have an override or have any money, it feels almost irresponsible to hire somebody for potentially a month and then have to let them go if we don't have the funding for it. So that's kind of we're not saying we're not hiring a town planner, it's budgeted for a 32-hour position for FY '27 if the override is there. So I just wanted to clarify that we are fully on board with a planner position. It's budgeted for with the override, and it's reduced to 12 hours if the override doesn't pass, but it is still there. We just wanna see how everything washes out with override in town meeting.
I guess my question really led to, have we stopped the process entirely? Or if the budget passes, we are gonna move forward? And if the budget passes, I got another quote, will the budget pass at 91,800 or at 79,795? What are we looking for a budget?
It's 66.
327.
What?
66,327.
You're not gonna
The
hire
budget
anybody for
passes.
that kind of money.
Well, it's a
32 hours.
32-hour
32 hours.
position.
You're still not gonna hire anybody.
So,
Talk to a lot of people.
so then a clarifying question, because I thought I asked this before and we were supposed to be looking at the department request for these conversations.
Right.
But now you mentioned 32 hours, which then brings us to the TA recommendation.
So,
So what are we talking about?
I'll
That's my
let
question.
Heather speak more on this, but what I would like to comment on for this is that the town planner is a position that works for the town. Yes, they're involved with the planning board, but they report directly to the town administrator, and they have other functions in their job description outside of direct planning board involvement. So it's a position hired by the town administrator, and I feel that they have the oversight as far as what that work entails. And if our town administrator, who is that person's direct report, is saying that it's 32 hours for their job description and what we expect, that's what I will support as that.
I don't disagree, I
Recommendation.
just wanna go back to
Yeah.
what column are we looking at for these conversations?
Well,
Are we
that
looking
brings
at
up,
the request or are we looking at the TA recommendation?
well, that brings up an interesting scenario then. If we're only hiring for 32 hours, and out of those 32, we're carving something out for them to do something else for the town, now we're not hiring a planner to do the planning job for 32 hours. So don't expect to get a planner if he's gonna be a secretary, if you will, on other things and not doing his planner job. So,
I think we were carving it in, not carving it out.
So
Go ahead.
first, I just wanna,
Heather.
I just wanna say that, that the TA recommendation line is exactly that. It's a TA recommendation. It is the select board's budget. As we have established, I have been here about a hot minute and a half. I recognize that there's a strong sense that from the planning board, that they would like to see that at a full-time position. I have every hope that we would have at least a 32-hour a week position there's certainly enough work. I do see that it could support not only planning board, but RDIC, economic development. I mean, there are so many things that the town of Rutland needs a town planner to do. So there's no objection from me at all to make that a full-time position. However, we have to balance the budget. And there's a very strong sense from the community that we have increased positions, that we have added positions. And I think that we also talked about 2 weeks ago, this whole group had a very lengthy conversation about an HR director. And we identified that it was a ginormous hole of liability that we have created by getting rid of that position. Right, you'll notice that that is not a position that is being funded for next year. We have to pick and we have to choose. What are we gonna pay for? What can we support? I think that the idea that we're having it in there at all at 32 hours shows that we recognize that it's an important position. There is, especially from the stormwater side, there is that independent review. That's what the 53, what the revolving funds are for, is to supplement those types of costs. So if there are additional hours or contracted work that we would have to have that planner on board for, I mean, I guess at the risk of pushing this down the path, I think it's important that we support it at 32 hours. Hope that we can fund it at 32 hours, because to Harry's point, we're not gonna get anybody at 12 hours, right? We're just not. We might as well cross it off entirely if the override doesn't. But I think we have to acknowledge to the voters that we are looking at each of these positions and making a prudent and responsible decision at what we can reasonably afford. So, again, I'd also love to see HR come back, right? Because we as a group had that conversation, but I haven't heard another word from anybody about HR. The planner, yes. HR, not so much.
Yeah, go ahead.
So, one of the things that I think is really important for us to recognize in the town planner side is that person can influence long-term and bend the curve to where our planning directs it to less potentially single-family home. You know, just this track we've been on, it needs to get bent in a way that helps us on the revenue side, and a town planner is absolutely instrumental to make that happen. I don't know that I am in favor of a 32-hour town planner that's gonna do most of the things, but not really do the strategic, really important things to
So
help us bend that curve.
I would agree with you 100%. But I don't know where we get the money to do it. And if we could take it out of a revolving fund that, you guys have a revolving fund that you charge your things, can you supplement the rest of it with that every year?
minimally.
Yeah.
Darren,
Yeah, we went through that last year.
isn't this a proposed budget? So whether we do 80 or 91, that's going to the town to vote on for an override? So why?
No,
Until
not,
this is final.
Well, that's what I'm saying,
Right.
so if we finalize this, it's 3.1 million, if it's $11,000, it's still gonna go to the town to be voted on. So, I don't see a huge difference there in saying, let's propose to the town 91.8 for a full-time planner. Let's build it into the budget.
well, that's,
'Cause we're
that would
not-
be a select board's decision to do that.
I'm just.
And
putting
this
it
is
out.
just, I like you, I like where you're going, but you guys have to do that. And you have to talk to the town administrator to do that, cause I review it and I add some insight into where we are as the finance committee. Do we agree that we should probably, the way it works, the finance committee would say that we need a full-time planner? How we get there, unfortunately, I'm gonna slide that over to you guys. And that's basically where we're at. And unless someone on the finance committee's got a difference of opinion on that, I think we gotta move on. Go ahead.
I don't have a difference of opinion, but I apparently I'm not asking this correctly. Which column are we using? The budget that the departments have requested or the TA budget? Again, several weeks ago when I asked this, we were using the department line. And now I'm hearing that we're using the TA recommended line. And which is it? Cause
I think at this point, it's both, because that's what we're discussing, what could be or not be, and that's the thing that keeps getting brought up, that we gotta get to a point of saying, are we going for an override and how much is it gonna be before you, but they're both in flux right now.
Cause then we have a super cut budget line
Correct,
too, and that's not
right.
even what we're considering.
Absolutely. And that goes back to what Harry's saying, which number is it, but we don't
I don't
know
know
right
which
yet.
line to look at.
If I may, and Heather, you may be able to answer this, but I think my understanding is that the TA recommended budget is the one that we've been presented with that $3.1 million deficit. Most of the departments are asking for more, and that's going to add to that deficit.
I
So the-
hear you and now I understand, but like I
Right.
said, a few weeks ago, I asked this question and it was said that we were looking at the request of the departments, so.
But I think that my understanding is, I think these meetings are to have those conversations. Why is a department asking for this? Why is it recommended at the TA level? We had, I thought, good discussion even last week with Chris about the snow and ice increase and everything. So to try to piece
What the
all of that
difference
out.
I
is.
didn't know we were going back and forth.
But I don't know, I don't wanna speak for.
Well, it sounds like the next step is you've got this information, we're not gonna make the final decision tonight, you're gonna take that and in the coming weeks, you're gonna make that final decision and we need to move on.
Well, I have one question. So you stated that the TA made the
Who
change.
you
to-
pointing at first?
No, to Jen.
Okay,
Because
thank
she
you.
said the change was made to the job description by the town administrator. Heather didn't make that change, so I guess we need to understand why the interim town administrator made the change to the job description.
It was all, I don't think there was much actually changed with regards to it, and it was approved by
Changing
the
it from
select board.
40 hours to 32 hours,
I don't think
that's a
the hours
change.
are in that.
It's not in the job description, but.
No.
Alright, so moving right along, I would like
I
Heather,
just have one more question.
I got a comment too.
go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead.
If,
What would help to discuss this stuff, aren't we?
what would help me look
What's that?
We're supposed to be here to
No,
discuss this.
absolutely, but we gotta get some more information.
That's what I'm looking for.
That's all, I agree with you, we gotta discuss this, but we need some more
And
information.
that's why I'm asking that question, because it's
yes.
all this stuff that
Go
we
ahead,
need.
anybody that's got
And
a
the-
question,
and
go
the
ahead.
question is, what would help me make a decision, whether I support the 91.8 or the 70, whatever, is how many hours, if we hire somebody at 32, is gonna be devoted to the planning board, and if that's not enough hours, then we just say, we're not gonna do it. Because it's nice to work with RDA scenarios, but I know of situations where if you don't have a good planner, you're gonna end up in land court. And that's gonna be a lot more costly. than hiring a town administrator.
So I think,
You don't get the job done right. So part of me, as a follow-up, is how many hours would be devoted to the planner towards the planning board in their functions of approving property and roads and everything, so.
and that rolls into the job description that she's gonna get us.
And if I could just clarify, Harry, where are you getting the 77 from?
Well, I think it was just a
I have the
71.
original sheet, I guess, I didn't get the new one, because it says 79,795 was the cut budget on the old sheet,
I don't know where that is.
right there.
Okay,
I got 68, 28, 827.
Yeah, so there's another one
This is
out
the
there, I
original.
don't have. This
These were all
was
different
the
ones.
originals they sent me.
So
Mr.
I just
Shea.
wanna make a comment, was going back to what Jen said earlier, so if the planner has a different job description and is works for the town administrator, wouldn't that position go under the town admin or the select, whichever place it should go in budget rather than the can't have two bosses, they gotta be somebody's gotta, they gotta work for somebody.
We're not the
it's
boss.
a direct report to the town administrator, for
right.
sure. And
But if they worked for you and you got stuff to, okay,
It's
I'm just,
staff.
that's my
No,
point.
no, you have an excellent point, keep
You can
going.
only have one, you can't,
You can't report to two different bosses.
and it should be in a different budget.
I
The
don't
other thing
think
I wanted
they're-
to say was the same thing, conservation. There's two different department numbers in here, and it's mixed up, so it's confusing what's going on with two different areas.
So I think to make this, like I said earlier, iced tea, we need a job description. And we need to figure, there's people in this room don't know what this person does.
We need all that information we talked about.
Well, you have a job, didn't you read job description?
We approved it,
one
we approved a
recently,
job
yes.
description for the planner, that came before us, we approved it.
I thought I had it here, yeah.
Yeah, and that went out, but and I apologize if I'm incorrect in this, but we approved a full-time planner, we didn't approve a,
And I'm pretty sure the job description is just the job description, it doesn't state how many hours or
Correct.
it's just
That's-
what are the job's
yes,
responsibilities and
yes.
duties,
and our
so.
intent was, I mean, when we approved it, that in the past two planners, Dave George and John Carbonneau, and then Delia, and again, I don't know the ins and outs of Delia, the previous two experienced planners that we had and were full-time, 40 hours a
So-
week,
She was here for a few months, right?
month and a half or so, and that's about it.
Okay.
2 months?
All right. So unless someone has a strong objection, we're gonna move along.
Yeah, just before we do that quickly,
Of course.
Alex, do you have any questions on any of the planner budget items?
No, I'm good right now, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we're gonna move on to the RDIC you would like to talk about next, right?
You,
Is there an
Michelle,
RDIC
is
budget?
there? Yeah, but there's no budget for it, and I just wanted to
Boards and
basically,
commissions.
since we were on the agenda,
It's right there, it's the fourth,
Boards and
five.
commissions, Jen. It's under boards and commissions.
it should be a 0 if I'm not mistaken.
It is.
Oh, okay. Yep, okay.
It's under what, boards and commissions?
Yeah,
Purchase services?
cause in the past, we've asked, in the past for monies for projects for that year. So, we're going to discuss at our next meeting about any wants that we have, but they would most likely be a warrant article, not a budget item. So if we were looking for something, we'd put a warrant article together for funds for that way. We wouldn't put it in the 2027 budget.
Can I just make a comment with, is that okay? For warrant articles, I believe in our updated financial policies, we had put that any warrant articles needed to at least be started or spent out within the year and no more of the just carried on in
It's a new policy?
I believe it's in the policy, something, I forget exactly how the language is, but it's something about clearing out and so that there's not articles that just sit there forever as costs continue to expand and everything. And
Must ask-
it was an accounting, it was a finance department accounting request and kind of best practices, because when we were going through, there's a lot of articles that have just sat there that had an appropriate amount of funding put in for a project at point A, and 5 years later, nothing has been done on it and the cost has expanded. And so I think the intent was that that town meeting allocates that money and that there's good movement on either it's started and finished within within that fiscal year, or there's good movement on the project that it's a commitment to.
You have sunset on it.
Right.
Sunset. That's all you gotta do.
Right.
All right, as a chairman, I was advised to make a warrant article, so if we had to go 18 months or 24 months to get the contract, whatever we were gonna do, to make it a warrant article, not put it on the budget, cause the fiscal year budget's over.
Tim, I think that you would cover yourself as long as you have a time frame on it and it sunsets.
I'm fine with that,
At some
yeah.
points. That's all.
I
That's
think
all they're asking
we're-
for. Not a big deal.
Michelle's my vice chair, and I think we're gonna talk about what projects we'll need at our next RDIC meeting.
And I believe it's in the financial policies that the select board had voted at a year and a half ago. I think FinCom had reviewed them for a while,
I'll put
and
that
then,
down, there's a
so,
note, I did not know that.
Tim, do you guys have a revolving account for that? Nothing. So you have no money.
We have, to meet the $12,000, I think we have a
special article.
Yeah, special
One of those
article.
long-term
Yeah.
special articles.
So we've got monies there, we were just trying to find out if we need any clearing projects. We don't have to worry about the forest thing now, cause that's been transferred over to the Concon. So we wanna talk about it and see if there's anything that we wanna bring up that needs to be handled. And I don't have that in front of me right now, so.
Okay.
But I just wanted to say, at this point, we have no budget requests for this year,
No budget request for what?
for fiscal year 2027.
For RDIC.
For RDIC.
RDIC, we're off the planning board, we're on
You know what?
RDIC,
But RDIC is a separate committee, right?
but they have a budget line item in
He
there.
sits on two committees.
I'm on two committees.
He just changed hats, you didn't
Oh,
see.
yeah, I'm on my chairman hat and Michelle's here as the vice chair for RDIC.
So though I do see a line item for purchase services for RDIC for
Joe,
$10,000,
you
is
over
that
here.
no longer a request? It
I
was
think
taken out
that's-
for the TA recommendation.
That's what Tim is saying, is
I'm curious, Michelle, do you
request
remember
moving
requesting
towards
10 grand
Yeah, you guys asked
for
it in the
this year?
budget.
Somebody put in $10,000.
Yeah, you guys asked for it at a meeting.
Okay,
Who asked for it?
I don't recall.
And the
Maybe we
note
did.
says something about hiring a broker for sale of
Oh,
town property.
that was real estate, but we hadn't worked it out with the select board yet, so I don't wanna put something in that we don't have a plan for yet.
So what are you looking at? So everybody understands what we're looking at.
So what-
Under purchase services.
Now, under Boards and Commissions, purchase services for RDIC.
Correct, 10,000 under purchase services.
Correct.
Development Industrial Commission, which
Yep, and so
the names change in all these
zeroing
different
it out,
places.
I'm fine with that because we don't have a plan yet on what to do and I won't wanna put money in for a plan I don't have. Or the RDIC commission doesn't have yet.
I'm gonna put my new girl hat on. So the funding, if it's a standalone article, it would have to have a funding source. Are you thinking taxation? Or are you thinking free cash? Where would you propose to fund it from? Because if it's taxation, I just as soon see it in the general budget, because then we can track it through the general budget, as opposed to it being a standalone article that would be a special revenue fund or standalone capital item, which I think to Jen's point, or I'm sorry, to Leah's point, there's a financial policy that sort of discourages that. So if it's something that you're thinking that you would do through taxation, let's have it maybe be part of the budget discussion so that it's trackable through the GL.
We'll
Does that
take
make
that up
any
at our next
sense?
meeting, I think, Michelle, we need to put that as a line, as a agenda item.
I think historically, to answer your question, Heather, part of your question, I think historically RDIC has asked a warrant article, special articles out of free cash.
Okay,
Or additional revenue, like
Okay.
one-time revenue sources
Okay.
is how historically it's been done.
okay.
And I think years ago, a lot of boards and commissions probably had some line items in the budget, even before I was on the board, like long time ago. But I think as budget constraints have gotten stronger or tighter and tighter, the boards and commission line items have come out and anything, and we've professionalized staff also, right? So kind of it's been absorbed on the staff side, on the professional services side. And so I think a lot of things that boards and commissions ask are often have been recently warrant articles out of free cash or other one-time
Okay.
revenue sources, if that
Okay.
makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Like
Yeah.
maybe, I mean, just where it is, I don't
Yeah.
know if it's proper or
Yeah.
not, but
I'll ask since we're here, Michelle, do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay, just wanna make sure.
Okay. Thank you for the clarification. That's a new one for me.
Okay, does anyone have anything else for the RDIC?
Given my sales pitch, there's 20 houses sold and 10 more under contract at Army Place. That's my sales pitch.
And we discussed this, the planning board's 53.5 thingy here, 53.5 or?
53G? That,
Bring it, yep.
No, I'm just
Oh,
asking,
that's
it's in here.
Revolving
The
fund?
revolving fund.
I just asked that question. Someone said they didn't have a revolving fund.
RDIC doesn't, planning board does.
Okay,
Planning board does, yeah. But I don't think there's
I mean, that's just
anything really to review.
handles our
no, this is their thing.
Yeah.
administrative and anything that we have for subdivisions and
Yeah.
also handles our professional development, so it's nothing.
Do you have any questions related to that?
No, I just wanted an explanation of it, that's all.
May I just ask for clarification more for the public? What goes into the revolving fund, can you just clarify more for the public?
The revolving fund that we typically have is for
All their fees,
fees that we get in from subdivision, A&R lots,
special permits.
special permits, that all goes in there, and then that's sent out if we have to, like, a good example is for a subdivision, if we have to have review by Quinn Engineering, those fees will come out of that. It doesn't come out of town money, it comes out of our 53G accounts. And those accounts are typically separated by the individual, some of them are separated by the subdivisions, and then there's just a general account that would be where all of our permits come into.
And, sorry.
Follow up, go ahead.
Thank you. The fees, have you, and I should know this, has planning board looked at the fees recently
Yes.
to ensure that they are, that the fees are meeting the costs? Because I know select board had some instances where we were collecting, so there was a lot more, not a lot, there was some falling to the taxpayers that shouldn't have been because they should have been covered by the fees. So I understand that the fees aren't, the get rich quick scheme or anything like that, but we wanna ensure that the fees are reasonably and reasonably covering all expenses that are associated with the project.
We did a study based upon the surrounding communities and the fee structure. And we are well within, and in fact, in some cases exceeding some of our surrounding communities for fees. Most, yeah, yeah, we're trying to be gentle about this, but yeah, our fee structure is robust, I guess is a good way to say it, compared to our counterparts in Holden, even Holden, Paxton, Sterling. We went to Barry, Princeton, and then we even went into West Boylston and look at our fee structure. So we did that review, and John actually I did the review 6 years ago, and John did a review while he was here and came back and said, we're still good.
And they're meeting the costs also,
That
correct?
was-
So like that's,
Yeah.
I mean,
Not just that we're like everybody else, but are we meeting our costs?
right, that's my bigger concern.
Our 53G account has not been negative. And again, part of the 53G account also takes money in from the developers on subdivision and holds that, and that's what pays the fees. So again, and Tamika knows this, that when an account runs low, we'll go to a developer and say we need more money into their 53G account. But there is a section of 53G that the special permits come in, and that entails advertising for the special permit hearings through the
TNG and stuff.
yeah, I was gonna say that, I would say Telegram, but I think it's other ones. So it pays for that, and then it also pays for any administrative help, like when Tamika's stepped up for us for the planning board, since we haven't had a planner. We had voted to pull some of those hours out there to cover her support for us, to be paid out of the 53G account, which is administrative.
Thank you, and that was more clarification for everybody, so thank you.
So, question, what about attorney's fees if you need legal opinions?
Comes out of the 53G accounts.
So it doesn't come out of our set aside?
No. If anything to do with the planning board, that is requested by the board, we have to go through the town administrator to get it approved to talk to the attorney. But that fee or that cost would be paid out of the 53G account.
Okay.
What if we're involved in litigation as a town because of a planning board decision?
I don't know, I don't have that answer, Darren, because
I believe it's been accepted, if there is a litigation, that it would come out of the general fund.
Yeah, that's what
Okay,
Heather's confirming.
Spot on, yeah, exactly.
I couldn't answer that way.
So so those fees should be, I was just looking on this sheet we got for revenues, and I can't pick it out quickly here, so, but that should be on this sheet also, whatever they collect in fees, right?
No, it goes into a revolving fund.
It's a revolving, so it's a little
But it
different,
should be on the sheet of town revenue, so we know what it is.
and it goes into a revolving.
It's not general fund
I
revenue.
didn't say use it for, I'm saying we should have the information on what the town receives, so we know what is going on with all the accounts.
I think some of the, if I may, I think some of the I don't disagree with seeing what's going on with the revolving accounts, but I think some of the conversation with the revolving accounts recently has been that they're always just a snapshot in time. The revolving accounts ebb and flow a lot, and so this month may look vastly different than last month or next month based on what's going on in each,
Correct.
with each
I don't
account.
disagree with that at all.
So
But what I'm leading up to is, like Tim just said, as far as I knew, I've never heard, I don't know if that's right, I've never heard about the 53.5 account running out of funds. So, and you just mentioned that there were some bills or something had to be paid out of a different source in the past.
No, that wasn't for theirs, that was, and it wasn't a 53.5 account or anything, it was fee schedules for postings and everything, I think it was some ZBA stuff and everything. Select board needed to update fees, and select board updated fees that hadn't been updated for a long time, so newspaper postings and everything weren't being.
That didn't have nothing to do with the planning board.
Nothing to do with
Oh,
the
all
planning
right, well, but you were saying it,
Sorry,
okay, I mean,
sorry
okay.
for that confusion.
Okay.
That's it. Anybody else? Cause Norm and I'll pack up.
I do just wanna say, I think as far as the revolving accounts go, I think all the departments and everyone does a good job monitoring them to ensure that they're not going to go negative, cause nobody wants that, right? But I think that we as a town do a very good job monitoring the revolving accounts that we have. Thank you.
That's like to note that Tamika monitors our revolving accounts, and she does an absolutely excellent job.
Yep. If one of our accounts get low, we know about it, and we can get a letter to that developer or individual and have them update the amount of monies we need. Or at least get the letter out.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, thank you.
These chairs kill me.
Yeah.
You're next.
Finance committee.
Finance committee and reserve fund.
It's not in the reserve fund. What much to say?
Does anyone have any questions on, I mean, we all know what it is.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Is 25 typical for the reserve fund appropriation?
Well, didn't you guys didn't we on a town warrant, the meeting warrant in the fall, dump more into it?
Does that carry over?
Clears to free cash.
Yeah.
Then
I think if, Karen and Darren, you guys probably remember a little bit more, I feel like it's been kind of anywhere in the 20 to 50,000 range, depending on the health of the budget, right?
25's gonna be low. With the way that things have been going, the way we've been spending money out of there.
We just spent that last week, didn't we?
The answer to the question is it's fluctuating.
Right.
Depending on how much money was available, or how much we thought was there, that's what we recommended to be put in it. So it's been down lower, it's been up way high. And this past year, it's been way high because we took that
Something like that.
bigger number from the money that came back from Wachusett, was it, and put in there?
Yeah.
That's why I asked a couple weeks ago about the reserve fund and if we could get the totals from the past several years and an accounting of what we spent this year and what's left, and what's in it. But
Last
I
year we
haven't-
spent 18,000, for FY 25 we spent 18. This year so far, we've spent almost 38,000 and a half.
That's the number I wanna know. Which would leave us right now a balance of what?
So that I'm,
That's
my
your
balance
question.
says 47,000, but there's $30,000 that I'm questioning, and I'm not sure.
We can talk about that.
That's why I thought we could talk about it.
Yep. Yeah, cause that one of that big chunk of that was what, 28,000 we just did a few
For the
weeks
fire
ago?
department.
For the fire.
Could we just agree that we would maybe put an article on to have whatever in there at the end and would clear to free cash that's refunds the reserve fund?
Well, we're proposing 25, right?
Well, you're proposing 25 as like the
Full year.
the low,
You mean take whatever's left and put it back in on top of
Yes,
whatever the
correct.
appropriation? Is there a way to word an article to do that?
I don't think, I personally don't think so. I think everything that isn't spent has to be
Has
cleared
to
to free
go back,
cash.
yeah.
It could be,
no, it would be an article that would just say like to fund the reserve fund with 38 from free cash, right?
right, so essentially, the current existing free cash, use that to fund back
At the
in
end
and
of
then
the
know
year.
that that's what would supposed to clear.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that could be an avenue. I was thinking you were thinking just saying whatever's left in that reserve fund to just keep and roll over.
No,
but
no,
you
no,
can't,
no,
like,
I know
You
that.
can use it for
unfortunately,
math, but you
Yeah.
can't use it for,
Yeah.
Right,
No,
so
it
you
would
could-
just be like,
you could math it and essentially
I
say,
guess
hey,
with the-
we wanna like,
I guess what the finance committee is saying is we would like to have an article on the warrant. That whatever's, include an article on the warrant to include that number wherever we end up when we get close. Free cash plus this number, because we're gonna obviously use it. And at the end of the year, if we don't, it's gonna zero out anyways, and everybody's using it all the time now. We've already up there.
to Tommy's point, I only have 2 years of what we, well, actually 1 year of what we spent in
I've got 24 in front of me.
for
I have 24 in front of me.
this 20, you have 24's number?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I thought you were saying like 24,000
Oh.
for this year or something. So how much was 24's?
24, you spent 19,931.26.
That's probably why it went down to 25, because we
25.
had a couple of years that were underneath that.
And we scrapped the, Karen's gonna back me up on this, so we scrapped to put money in there sometimes.
Right, but we have money this year, we have more than we've normally had in there.
Correct.
So we don't have to do anything with it this year.
No.
We're talking about
We're
next
talking
year.
about
This-
next
this
year.
not revolving, that's the problem. It's not
It won't be.
revolving.
Correct, it's, I don't think it can be by state law.
Exactly, that's the point, yeah.
So if we do the new budget for 26,
27.
right? And then when we find out what free cash is in the fall, we have our fall town meeting, then we could add money to it if we thought we should.
I think that's exactly what we're.
And we've done that several times.
That's what we did last year.
So I wouldn't, I don't know why, I'm just saying, the article, we don't need an article really until we know,
Till the fall.
Till the
town meeting.
until the fall one.
Okay,
may I ask a question? And this is a little bit of a naive question. Does FinCom usually see reserve transfer requests coming in the second half of the year because department heads and
this year
Or-
they're coming right out of the gate.
they,
did.
They
I mean,
did.
this year doesn't surprise me, right,
July.
because they started the budget behind, right?
Possibly need in July already.
It was particularly.
Nick George came to us for.
Oh, for the tax title?
Tax title.
Text title.
That's understandable.
Tax title stuff, and then
And
we
we
went,
gave him less than what he really
yeah,
wanted.
we
Yeah.
kind of, yeah.
Town clerk
Well, it
gave
was,
him-
the thing over at the fire station was a big number that was out of the blue request,
had to
but
do
you're
our
right,
own dues.
usually it's
Yeah,
not
that's
in the
right.
first
Yeah.
half, it's usually towards the second half, usually,
I mean,
but
I
not
wanna
always.
I think
I wanna be
200's gonna
mindful
too low,
also
to
that,
be
like,
honest with you. I think we
FinCom
should
is
do
going in
225 because they
feeling
went
that
up
you can
last
look
year.
at each
Only
individual
by a dollar,
request
but let's see
fair
what
for
goes
where
this
it
year.
is in a timely needs-based need and not say, well, we have to wait until
We could,
May because.
we could, but the definition of the reserve fund is unforeseen
It
or
really was.
emergency. It's not, well, I didn't have enough money in my budget, so give me
Right,
some money.
Right,
And it specifically says it's not to be used because.
to supplement.
Karen
didn't,
just
yeah.
made
Especially
a,
if we have had robust discussions, I just read it, so to find out what it was,
Yeah.
if we've had robust discussions and tried to say, you sure about that number? And they say, yes, and they can't come back and say, oops.
Do you want your FY 26 balance?
The 20
I mean, yeah.
This budget year.
Yeah.
I have a question about that.
Yes.
I'm not sure
Oh.
that a mistake wasn't made, so I'd like clarity on that first.
Okay, what's your question?
Well, I can
Well,
do it now.
we'll wait until we
Okay.
finish with
Yeah,
the
I mean-
budget and then.
yeah, we can do it on the finance committee, but we'll
Finance committee,
definitely bring it back
yeah.
up. And Karen made a point that
we don't know, we might wanna increase just a little, maybe to $210 our dues, because they did go up slightly last year.
We just
So-
wanna cover the dues.
We wanna make sure that we have the dues to go to the,
Otherwise, you might need a reserve fund transfer.
We did that
We
this
did
year.
that once.
We did that
We did
last
it this year.
$13.50, please.
What's the balance you were offering?
So this year, because it looks like you had a healthy cash infusion of 115.9.
can we discuss this later, Tommy? Cause we have some serious questions that we have to go over in detail, and we don't wanna tie up the select board.
No, I want the number down, because we're talking about it right now.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
go ahead, Heather.
So you've spent $8,700 and you have 115, you have a balance of 107,199.
107,999,
199.
199. But, and you said we spent 8,700?
You spent, 8,700.
Bench yourself for just a little bit.
What was the,
That
what was
doesn't
the fire
include,
station one?
I'm sorry, this is
I thought it
before.
was 28,000.
So,
Go back to budget.
Tommy, I'm sorry, this doesn't include the last two transfers, I just
Oh.
looked at my dates.
So
Okay, all right.
You'd have to add
So we
it,
have to take
you'd
it
have
out
to
to-
add it.
is the
Sorry.
finance committee comfortable with the
This one is a big, it's a big one.
comfortable with the 25, or would you like to see more
We
for
can-
that reserve?
Well, what we're gonna do is, what we thought we would do is go to the fall town meeting and ask for right now, to get us
So
through.
keep 25, and then
Yeah, and then we'll
Okay.
figure it,
I just wanted to see if
Yes.
this 25 number that's here for
25 to get us through to the fall.
is correct, okay.
But I'm also hearing, look at what the dues are and bump and
Look,
make sure that that
yeah.
matches the
Yeah, and we
dues
just
with-
mentioned that.
$210, let's
Yeah, 210,
add $10 to
Up
it.
it to 210, so we don't have to do anything silly.
all right.
All right, done.
Tommy, are you satisfied?
Do you have that change in your?
Okay, perfect. All right,
Swing that one through.
ZBA is next. There's nobody here, but $300. Purchase services, I'm assuming that's just mostly,
ads. Is it ads or we pay for
Yeah.
that?
But I thought they were supposed to pay the fees to cover all of that. Wasn't that the whole reason?
I'll defer.
Oh. Well, I was gonna say, I think the way it works is the fees come into the general fund and then so it's received on the revenue side.
Okay,
But we have-
but it covers
that-
the fees?
That doesn't,
No, so,
sorry. Sorry, I was wrong.
last year, they had a revolving fund approved at town meeting. Unfortunately, because they get applications so infrequently, we haven't been able to really build any money in the fund. So we requested to put this in as a backup, because there really isn't enough money in there to cover if we have,
Beforehand.
Yeah.
Any expense.
yeah.
It's just seed money to get this going.
But the fees that you're collecting from any ZBA covers this. It just comes in up here and goes out here. Okay, that's all I care about. I don't care where it comes, as long as it's covered, cause I remember we were very short on that at one
It
point.
is, yes.
All right, moving along to the agricultural commission,
that one's not funded, so
okay? Historical
This is-
commission,
historical commission is also not funded.
okay,
Can I make a comment about historical though, please?
absolutely. We would,
Peter's not here, I'm the vice chair of the historical commission. And I don't know how many of you know this, but DCR came to us in December because they want to raise the prison cell structure and fill in the doorway of the root cellar. So we started a campaign to kind of save our structures again. We've talked to a couple of people. Steve Durant came to one of our meetings, his representative came to another meeting. They did talk about possible grant funding to help beef it up. Most of you might know, but I'm not sure if everyone in the room knows this. Several years ago, we got a grant to put up gates on the structures, and they were torn down almost immediately and destroyed. I don't think, I came onto the commission shortly after that, and looking at the way the RFP was written, I don't think that the fence company had really done their due diligence in putting up, because the RFP stated a gates to keep people out, and those gates did not keep people out because they were able to pull them off with their trucks. Anyway, so we don't have a budget line item, we don't know what we might need. We might be able to get grant funding, but just kind of being on the radar that if something comes up and we do need something, we might come back. But I don't know how that would work.
That to me sounds like it might be special article territory. I mean,
That's what I was thinking, and I just wanted to be aware of it.
Yeah.
Be a
No,
one-time
that's
thing,
fine.
free cash, we could do it.
I mean, for budget related, you know, things like AgCom and Historical Commission, I think historically we've only funded around 250 just for some of those
Incidental.
incidental
Supplies or whatever,
pieces. I don't know how, I mean, I know when I was on it, we never drew from it.
Right.
So, but if it's anything, you know, project related for that, that sounds like special ward.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, or special article. At least that's my,
Yeah.
it sounds like to me.
And I think if I may, I would think working with town administrator in our office, if there's staff support needed to help either through RPC or the state delegation or anything as far as looking for earmarks or other grant funding or
Right.
Thank you. Certainly support anything that, you know. Anybody got anything else related to that? All right,
Alex, are you back? Do you have anything?
I'm back, but I'm good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Any other budget related discussion?
I just have a sort of a procedural question. Earlier, when we were discussing that, the select board would do a little bit of looking at the town planner, maybe come back with a different or an updated number. There have been a couple of other things. When in the next few weeks are those things likely to happen? Are we likely to need to get back together to discuss some of those things? Is there any way to?
I think if I may, if there's a couple of areas that we need to take into consideration on which which line items we need to finalize, I can review that with you, Heather, and we can put an agenda topic on for the select board to go through those if we need to make some decisions on those.
I definitely have a bullet list.
Okay. So I would say at I would imagine for
Couple, 3
our
weeks out.
our next meeting, yeah, we'll have
Alright.
at least a
What-
topic
So
to
that
touch
quick.
base if there's information to talk about.
I'd like to have the school number and our final health insurance number,
As well, so we can,
so that we would know exactly
Okay.
what we're working with.
Okay.
And then that would help
make some of those decisions.
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
When's that school number? Is it next week or is it in
I'm
March?
hoping that we see it by the end of the first week of March.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Can we see would you mind sharing that bullet list of things that you think are in flux?
Sure.
Because
I'd
I
have to
just,
take it,
you know, I
I
know that
have to
there's
take
been
it
a
out of
couple
my
of them.
2 AM subconscious brain and put it onto paper, but yes, I will definitely do that. All the things that wake me up at 2.
Okay,
Yeah.
got it. Well, subset that affects the budget, please.
Okay.
And don't send the email at 2:02. You can wait till the morning.
thank you, Ted. Well, I wouldn't hear it anyways. I don't hear a lot of things at 2:02, but whatever. All right, anything else
Budget related?
budget related?
So how do you wanna do this, cause the select board has a couple of other
You guys
items too.
can rip it up and then we'll go and finance committee will stick around. As long as you're not too long. Sorry. Do we have another place to go?
No, can we? Cause they
the
probably can't
recording,
handle
isn't it?
recording.
Hopefully, let's see if we can get through ours relatively quickly. The first item was just to come back to the public outreach materials. That's the information that Heather provided to us at our meeting on Tuesday. So just wanted to see if there was any additional thoughts or feedback from the board members, if you're comfortable with what's been presented.
I will say that I shared a very similar draft with the finance committee last week, so they have the same schedule. I will note that I've added several, the select board had asked me to consider adding additional events for the Glenwood location, and I spoke with Nancy Nichols about that, and we agreed that I will attend the Monday morning muffins and coffee sessions for the month of March. And then we'll highlight 2 lunches in the month of April that I will attend and present, so she can get those into the newsletters for the month of April. But that we'll have some informal sessions. She and I discussed whether a more formal public information session should be added, and she thought that the coffee sessions and the lunches would be more productive because it would be more on the schedule of the intended audience rather than asking anybody to come out special just to see me. So we've added that to the list.
Thank you for that in the conversation.
Yeah. So we've already started scheduling some social media pushes. We've begun working on the website page that will have the call it the tax rate calculator.
The tax impact calculator.
The tax impact calculator, as well as a direct link to the assessor's page so that people can go online and find their specific parcels and insert that information into the tax rate calculator. We've just sort of started drafting some initial outreach. In addition, we have a 1-pager that will be reproduced and available in the town hall and other municipal offices for residents to grab and go as they come in and do their business in the buildings. And I've also provided tonight a document that highlights the personnel impacts. It's not something that I'm intending to use for public outreach, because I think that the public outreach should focus more on the service impact of those reduced positions. But I know that this is a group that wanted to see what that would look like. You actually have that already on your master sheet within the budget document, but this just highlights it and puts it into more of an organized fashion.
May I ask a question about when we reduce hours? I was under the impression that even though we reduce hours, we have to still pay full contractual wages. Am I right or wrong?
When you say
So for the assessor, if we drop to 34 hours, if she's contracted for more hours, more money, I mean, so
the assessor is not under contract. There is no contract for the assessor.
Yeah.
The assessor clerk is part of the clerical union. And so the provisions that are in that CBA would certainly apply. And it would be based on seniority, whether or not the positions that are eliminated would be, whether existing staff would be eligible to move into other positions based on seniority. And I'm happy to circulate that CBA so you see that language specifically.
I think the CBAs are online also.
Oh, yeah.
They're under
Yeah,
HR, there's
yeah.
a collective
Yeah.
bargaining, so all the CBAs are there.
So positions that are clerical, they would have to adhere to that CBA as far as the bumping.
So nobody's hours, or there's no reduction in staff if they have a contractual with the town treasurer.
Right.
Anybody that's contracted like that, so not the unions at this point, but
Right.
they're
What we've-
working full-time.
But what we've worked on is removing in those types of contracts, we have been removing the 40-hour so that there is flexibility to reduce hours even within a contracted position.
Would the wages reflect that?
Yes.
Cause I remember hearing that because their there's contractual obligation there that we paid what is on there, so, okay.
I think I think the board previously had been kind of trying to move away from contracts for that reason, and then has gone back to contracts, but trying to work in language to ensure that there wasn't that huge disparity between the contracted union employees and not, because realizing that that was a big driver of a lot of the past few years union formation.
So Heather, even though we're gonna be only having the town hall open 2 days a week, the town treasurer will be there working for us 40 hours a week.
Correct. Oh.
I needed to hear that.
Oh, I'm sorry. You know what? Thank you for being very direct, because often I'm not distilling out what the
like, I need to hear that.
I heard something different than what I just listened to, so.
Whatever you specifically need to hear from me, please ask it in that directness, because that's,
It's just
I
easier that way.
I don't pick up on the,
So the town, to Karen's point, the town treasurer is gonna be paid for 40 hours, but only be available for 16 hours a week at the taxpayers. Is that what Karen just said?
Yes, she told us that the town hall would only be open 2 days a week. Isn't that correct? I did hear that correct, 2 days a week.
That's right here.
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that I had heard that
Yes.
right.
I think there's certain roles that treasurer, collector, assessor, they're a lot of the accountant, a lot of those are ones that are responsible for bringing money in and ensuring the bills are paid. So government still has to function to a degree, and so I don't know the specifics as far as the hours, but if just because they're not open to the public doesn't mean that there's not a lot of work that needs to happen.
Oh, that's not what I've heard from the taxpayers. They're saying if they're there, they should be available. So, we're gonna get, I agree with what you just said, but we gotta be careful with this one. Because that is gonna be a rub.
Well, and I think that's why we're trying to convey the impact here, because
That,
the priority is to make sure that the town can still run, and we're not saying that they will not be available for residents, but that availability is going to be reduced.
well, I think that we have to be very careful how we go about that statement, because if they're getting paid by us to be there, I think there is a certain percentage of our population that think that they should be available for service. And I don't know, I understand what we're trying to do. I'm just saying it is not gonna fly well with a certain.
None of it will.
No, but that, if you, no.
They're gonna look at this as a picayune punishment is one thing that we run the risk of.
If I may, I think if we're significantly reducing administrative and support staff, then a lot of the administrative and support work that those employees do is going to fall onto the department heads. And so their ability to have interactions with the public is going to be reduced, because there's still in some positions, a lot of administrative work that needs to happen outside of the customer facing interaction. I don't disagree that's going to be a very difficult sell, and I understand that perspective for sure. I just think that if we are taking away if it's not fun, if the override doesn't pass and we need to reduce by $3.1 million, we're going to have to cut staff, right? And that's going to impact, and if that's whatever that reduction of staff is going to impact the ability for the staff, the remaining staff to do their core functions that need to happen to continue government moving forward, as well as interacting with the public.
Darren, can I ask you, I'm not sure I understand what you meant. Are you saying that the public will have a perception that if we're paying an employee X number of hours and the place is closed and they're not there, the people will have a disagreeable opinion about that?
Yes.
Do you drive by, do you drive by the town hall on Fridays? We pay several individuals 40 hours a week, and I know when I
Wait a
drive,
minute. Be careful.
when I drive by, there aren't cars in that parking lot. So the perception of Karen Narwhal taxpayer is, we're paying somebody
There
for
you go.
40 hours who
Well,
aren't
that's what I'm
there.
getting. If we cut, will that perception be there? It's like, well, he's working 40 hours. He didn't get cut, even though the offices are closed. He better be there, or she better be there. Is that what you're saying?
Well, they will be there, they just won't, the building won't be open for residents to come in to do
If they're there,
business.
that's great, but I'm saying the perception, I think
yes.
where he's coming from is, it's not,
It's
better
not
be
a
there.
good look,
No.
no, it's not.
I'm not as direct as Karen, but I think that we've got to be, no,
Yeah,
I'm
and-
not.
and, yeah,
But we
I
have to be careful how, in specific days of the week, we have to list.
Right.
And I guess I bumped into someone the other day and they said, so you're saying that there's gonna be people in the town hall, but the doors are locked? And you do that now on Fridays. And that perception isn't, there are people in town that are going to be voting on this that don't like that now, so we have to be careful how we present this little part of it, because it could backfire on us. Or backfire on the people.
I
It's not
agree,
gonna-
we'll have to come up
Change
with
it to
some, a
Wednesdays.
finesse of
What's
writing.
that?
Change it to Wednesdays.
Change the
Well,
Wednesday.
I mean, I think, but to everybody's point.
It's all in the
if-
communication.
But part of that communication might be, what do we observe for the people coming into the buildings, I mean, it's data, right? Basically, 2 days isn't gonna make a big difference, because we see that most people come in on these 2 days that we chose to be open anyway. And maybe, we've got such a small handful of people coming into the office. I don't have any idea what that looks like, but if we had some semblance of what days, how many people, where they're going, it might be able to tell a story positive or negatively. We might find that there's a negative story to it, but I think.
The 2 days before tax bills are due.
If I could just,
Maybe
bring
that
us
needs to be
back-
open those 2 days.
yeah,
It's.
if I could just bring us back to the agenda topic, the educational material, I don't wanna, I feel like we're digressing into more budget discussion and impact, so. So what Heather has here, we have an action plan, so that's all information that's being worked on. I see there's video series that are those currently in progress?
Those are currently in progress. The team would like to invite all of you, if there's anybody that would like to participate in that, if the select board or the finance committee would like to participate in that and bring your perspective and your years of service and how you've seen the town ebb and flow over the years, we're welcome to that. You could work together in groups or individually, so that invitation is out there. If you have any interest at all, please let me know. I think the more perspectives and faces that we can put forward and would be beneficial. So please reach out if you wanna participate.
Do you anticipate releasing those as they're being made, or are you
So,
waiting for?
I think that the intention now, given the revised scope is that we're gonna do one video and then splice out reels, if you will, shorts. Because we now know that everybody's attention span is exactly 25 seconds. So I think we'll work on getting the full video put together and then splice it out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Could you just say the very first part again of who was this with?
The cable
With the cable.
department is working with town staff
Okay,
and
all right.
invites all of you to participate as well, to create a video series.
Okay.
So is the board comfortable with the action plan that's here with the
it-
series and releasing of information?
Too much? Are people gonna get sick of my face?
At this point, I don't think there is too much. I think introducing the different media and medium are helpful, so people can use what they're most comfortable with, whether it's perusing the webpage or watching the videos. It's different means, I think, to help convey what's important here.
I skimmed through this a few times and my brain is going a million miles a minute. I think if we can try to partner with Wachusett Free Press also for
Yes.
their upcoming, next upcoming issues, I don't know.
She came in the other day and we had a great chat about how I can meet her deadlines and get some information to her as well.
Okay,
So,
great.
yeah.
And I saw recently that Holden is also starting to put a lot out about their override.
Did
plan
anybody
also.
watch their meeting last night?
I don't know.
No.
I fell asleep.
They did a nice job, so if you get a chance to look at that.
So, from another point here, if we're putting this on paper, is it actually, people are gonna ask, and I've already been asked, you guys said you need an override, and then you didn't do it, and then you made it through it. So, are we going to, unfortunately, guarantee to the public that this thing is gonna happen?
So
Cause it can't be, we can't deviate from it if you wanna hold our integrity up.
So I mean, so this is the impact one. I had mentioned to Heather just today that if there's a way for us to put on paper, you know, this is what we're planning, this is the plan for the override, this is where we anticipate it being, these are our commitments to you should an override pass. You know, what can we reasonably commit to give back to the community as assurances for how that money will be spent. If we can come up with what those are, that we would be able to put on paper to hold us accountable to what we're asking them to do. That was just something I had mentioned to Heather today that I would like to also look into, so that might be something forthcoming.
But I guess my question is, Jen, and we gotta be careful where we go here. If we're gonna put this on paper, is that what's gonna happen? There's no options other than this.
That was my push to try to get it to be officially transmitted to the clerk's office so that there was no ability to, in the 11th hour, not move forward with it. Because I sit here and look at a $3.1 million deficit in this year and not see how we can overcome that. It's horrible practice to use free cash, and we're not going to have that free cash available going forward.
How do you guarantee to the taxpayers of Rutland, the selectmen, that what you put down here is gonna happen? And I'm nervous about that because we've backstepped a couple times.
When you say put down on
Can I give
paper-
an example? I think
Yeah,
of
go
what I
ahead.
think you're saying.
Yes.
So what you are saying is, if we say today that we're only gonna be open 2 days a week, starting July 1st, we can't somehow pull a rabbit out of the hat and be open 3 days on July 1st. We're gonna be open 2
Or
days.
if we're not gonna have we're losing 5 paramedics and firemen. On July 1st, unfortunately, there's gonna be 5 paramedics and firemen gone. Not 3 because we found another funding source. We have to remain integrity, we have to do it. I want this override to pass, so we don't lose all this, but we have to, I don't know how we do it.
Well, we've been accused in the past of crying wolf.
And we have cried wolf.
Right.
Maybe, maybe not, but we've pulled a rabbit out of our hat.
We've cried wolf.
I don't mean to interrupt, I feel like we're digressing back into budget discussion when the topic is educational materials. I'm just trying to keep things on track, and I understand the
Education
concern.
materials are pointless if we
I think some of this,
aren't addressing some of these issues.
I agree, but I think part of it also is we don't have the final budget yet, so we still have a little bit more discussion to make sure that what we do put in here is as accurate as possible. There's gonna have to be wiggle room. I don't think we're gonna be able to say, this is exactly what's going to happen.
And that wasn't my intention, whatever we all decide on.
Yeah.
Whenever we get to that point, we know the school, we know all the little nuances, whatever it is, and we put it down on paper, we have to.
It needs to be as accurate of a reflection as what we
And then it has
anticipate
to,
happening as
and then it has to
possible.
happen.
Yes,
Right.
okay. Heather, is there anything specific that you would like direction on for the
I guess
materials?
the question is, as we start putting information up on the website, does the select board wanna see all of that first before it gets uploaded? I think that it would be my intention not to upload any budget documents until we have a final budget, simply because we talked about that we wanna make sure that the unified message is indeed unified. My expectation would be that there would be some materials like this, I know you can't see it, but this is that standard pie chart where this is education, you know, the percentages of what the budget looks like, it would be materials like that. We'd be talking about what the budget reductions look like to services and personnel. No, like I said, no budget documents at this point, simply because we know it's subject to change and I don't want anybody fixated on any particular number. But that type of material, are we comfortable uploading that?
I would be.
Okay, great.
I think we need to start getting anything that we can out there.
Yeah. We'll make it happen.
Okay, anything else on educational materials? Alex, anything for you?
Heather,
Yes.
that graph that was that, if we pass the override or if we don't pass the override?
It is both.
Well, the reason
because
I'm
it's-
saying it, if we don't pass the override, then the percentage of the high school budget becomes, or Wachusett budget becomes larger. Because we're cutting town services and they're not cutting anything. So,
Well, there's a proposed reduction in the TA balanced line of a reduction to school services.
okay, as part of the original budget, as part of our proposed budget,
As part of your proposed TA cut line, there is a reduction of school services.
I believe you have to tie the school budget to the override, because otherwise exactly what it's gonna do, you're gonna find money that we didn't override for, so
Well,
the
no,
services
it'll
will
have to
be
be
cut
when we get
even
the final
more.
budget, right? I mean, one. You're right, 100%.
No, you want more?
what's that?
I didn't, you're looking at me like
No, I'm just looking at the numbers and saying, if under the override, the school is 60% of the budget, and our override fails, that budget becomes larger for the school, and our amount becomes less.
exactly, so it's even
I
worse
double.
than we thought.
Because because there's over
It's 2/3.
60% of the budget.
Right.
We only got a third, so now we have to do twice as much cut,
Well, I'm just saying, if you're gonna show a visual
right?
and you're showing the cut budget, then you kinda need to show.
Schools will then be 62 or 63%.
Right, you need to show that,
6 or
the
7,
impact of what the school will have on
66%.
our cut budget.
Correct.
And what it will mean for the year after that, right? I think that's really what's in the end.
That's all, just a numbers thing.
Just a numbers thing.
Well, what I could do is, for now, I'll put the pie chart up, but I won't put the actual percentages in. I think that the amount of shading for each department is emblematic enough. It's fairly clear, even for all of us with the cheater glasses, that gray area is
the largest,
significantly
Wicked big.
dominant.
Wicked big, yes.
Wicked big.
Let's use the right term. Wicked.
Yeah.
Put
We could
numbers.
label it that way.
So,
Yes.
so the budget as, just one question for me, and I think I know the answer, but I wanna make sure. The budget that's been submitted to us right now, we don't know the final numbers on the schools. So everything in the insurance and stuff, so everything, everybody in the room knows it's gonna be adjusted a little bit here or there.
Right.
So these, what is a little worrisome to me is that percentage of people that we might lose may go up or down a little bit because of that, so we gotta,
No,
this
because,
is worst case. What if the school comes in with a more, Heather?
oh, well,
Well, that's what I'm going with this. They kind of promised us they're not, and Harry and I got blessed with going through a meeting in next week,
I'll
so.
be there with you. So let's have that conversation after the 24th.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll know more
And
on
I'm
the
not
24th.
pushing I'm just, be
I
realistic.
think what you're really asking is, we know it's gonna change a little bit, is that change gonna be significant enough
To change that,
to change that? And the answer seems to be probably not. But
but let's wait until we get those final numbers.
So maybe we shouldn't put this stuff out till the 24th.
I didn't plan to put that, like I said,
Not that
that,
piece, yeah.
that document is more because I think that this group
I
has
feel better.
asked me
Yes.
for something that more clear cut, but no, I don't intend to put that document up. I
Perfect.
did wanna wait to share that until I had shared with department heads, and I have done so today, so they're all aware of what those cuts look like. But I think that we can put up the information about what the impact of those reductions will
And
be.
I think we need to also, through your interactions with department heads and departments, we all have to pull in the same direction. We can't have little splinted little fights. We all have to work together to do this. So I think we have to somehow make sure that everybody's on the same page.
Heather, can you double check to make sure that the cut budget includes the overtime, workers, unemployment, thank you, the other thing, unemployment.
The unemployment, the anticipation is that would be a one-time cost from free cash.
So it does not include the unemployment.
It does not. The unemployment costs are not in that budget. That would be.
Can we get an idea as to what that hit will be as a one-time cost, please?
and that would, what, become a warrant article that we have to, at annual or fall?
Annual.
So you're talking, how much money? How much you thinking?
That's what we're waiting for. We'll have Heather get that.
I'm sure the number exists. I just don't wanna.
I'm
Speculate.
not speculating
Yeah.
either, because we pay in by week, they don't.
Is the revenue pay tab, is that accurate? Cause I know that preliminary cherry sheet did get posted a few weeks ago, which brings us up a bit in some areas.
I believe that you have that the document that you have reflects the cherry sheet updates. I will go back and double check the dates, Carol, but
I'm using the original one, which is
Okay.
like 99% correct. Because I've done a lot of figuring on it, so.
So I guess I'll also, at the risk of further creating root beer or iced tea, I've been working on a secondary document. Your budget, the document that you're used to looking at shows the TA recommendation and then the TA cut, the TA balanced. And then there are two columns after that that reflect the dollar amount of the change and then the percent of the change. Those two columns reflect back to your FY '26, because I know this is a group that looks at year over year. For the purpose of department heads being able to see what the differences are between the TA cut and the TA and what the TA recommends, I've adjusted in a separate document those last two columns. So the dollar change is the amount that is being cut from the TA recommend. If there's interest, I can share that document. It changes the numbers from 27 to 26 to 27 to 27, cut versus balance, recommend versus cut. So it's iced tea, to use Darren's term, but if there's an interest, I can share that out as well.
But once we get the final numbers from the school and from insurance, we'll get an updated full Excel spreadsheet.
I guess my question is, do you want it to still be the document that you're looking at, which is FY '27 over '26, or do you wanna see cut to cut? Does it matter? You don't care?
No, cause I know I'll put what I want in
Okay.
there, I'll just add a
All right.
column.
Fair enough.
But we will get a new one once everything comes in, we'll get a whole brand new sheet.
Absolutely, and I'll go back and make sure that we've sent it out since we updated those cherry sheet numbers. I believe we have, but.
All right, anything else on educational materials at this point? Okay. Last order of business for select board, we have we're gonna put our public works hat on for this one. We have a water and sewer abatement request before us. Everything is in our packets. Hopefully everybody's had enough time to take a look at the documentation. We have the application as well as a letter from the applicant with a lot of information. We have DPW did go out. We have a memo from DPW that had gone out and done the review, found a leaking toilet. The memo states that the owner acknowledged that the toilet had been running for weeks. It seems that there's a little bit of a discrepancy in what's in the applicant's notice as far as whether or not they acknowledged that it was running. But per the Director Klosky's memo, his recommendation is that the abatement request be denied because everything went through the meters. Thoughts or discussion?
I guess I'll make a small comment on that. I've had my toilet leak and my toilet run. And at the rate it was running, I don't know how you could accumulate a $10,000 bill from just one running toilet. But
It's running fast.
it's gotta be running really fast.
And I think the note said,
And as such, that should have been paid attention to. I mean, you know when your toilet's running, you can hear it, unless you have an issue with hearing, you know it's running, so I can't disagree with Chris on this. And certainly the letter that the individual wrote, I sympathize beyond measure with this individual. And maybe there is something we can do to help with the payment system, but considering what we've denied in the past, I just can't, I can't say that this should be denied. I mean, that it should be approved.
I don't have anything to add, Harry. You kind of echo exactly my sentiments. I 100% sympathize with the situation and the individual, but we've been very clear with these abatement review requests that as soon as we, abate any portion for any reason that, you know, seems to be valid,
Right.
we're setting a precedent. And I can't see breaking that the way we've been doing that now.
How long has this been going on?
This was just from the last quarter bill, so.
Yeah,
So it's $10,000 in one
that's what I was
quarter?
saying.
Well,
It's a lot of water.
it's water and sewer,
lot
so
more
the
sewer.
total
Yeah, but even
is-
still,
Yeah.
It's the
Right.
sewer.
but even still,
Yeah. There was a note saying that the first floor toilet was leaking at 2.17 gallons per minute.
Right.
2 gallons per minute, and if that had
And
been
the
happening
tablet
for
guy
weeks.
showed up in a bowl within
Yeah.
30 seconds.
a minute?
Yeah.
2.17 GPM.
That's quite a
And
leak.
my question is, you know the flappers, you know the system, how does a toilet leak at 2 gallons a minute?
It's open line.
Yeah,
But-
it's just constant bill.
You'd almost constantly hear it filling, it would be
You-
constantly filling.
You'd hear it constantly running, no matter where you are in the house, you hear it running. So, yeah, I can't see it.
And
So-
Tamika, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this was DPW that was flagged on this, that reached out.
Yeah,
So it wasn't even the resident that, it was, were proactive in reaching out once they saw it was going haywire, so. Alex, do you have any input on the abatement request?
Yeah, I mean, I see the email. I'm trying to find the first email that came through because I see the revised piece of it.
Alex, I sent it in the same email if that makes it easier.
You sent it in the same email.
Yep,
The same thread?
same email thread.
Yeah, I mean, either way, I guess what I was looking for, oh, I'm sorry, I see it. So all of those charges, I think somebody had already asked this, but just to clarify and re-ask, I guess, all of the charges are current, like from the current period. This is not like they didn't pay past bills and it's all built up over time.
Correct.
yeah.
It's for the current bill, the
Yeah.
current pay period.
So this thing went from normal usage to 2.1 gallons a minute in one period.
1 quarter.
And
It's a whole quarter,
unfortunately,
right?
you didn't notice it
Right,
for
it's a
weeks.
quarter.
Yeah, but it's only 3 months.
Yep, that would be weeks,
Yeah. Again,
Yeah, I mean, if it's,
right?
yeah, I feel sorry for the guy, but, you know, we can't punish the other people who also had come to us for abatements, and they didn't have reasonable excuses for that either. If you will. A legitimate.
Listen, your case, his case, my case, his case, not you.
All right, it sounds like the board is
You could run all.
Should I make a motion?
regretfully
It's gonna burn up my
in
well.
agreement, so if I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion on the abatement request that based on the information at hand and from the Department of Public Works, that the request for abatement be denied.
Second,
So motion and a second, is there any further discussion? All right, roll call, Harry?
Second, aye.
Whitman, I with regrets.
Mattson, aye.
Alex?
no, I.
Ledger, I with regrets as well, and
Is there anything we can
understanding.
do for payment system with, I don't know, so that's why I'm asking.
I hadn't reached out unfortunately with, I mean, the resident can pay as they can, but we
Okay.
don't, unlike with,
We
I
don't
think
put a
the
payment
property
plan
taxes, we
together.
don't have a payment plan.
Okay.
Yeah, but if they're not gonna pay their bill, you're gonna make a payment plan.
Right, it'll accrue
That's the
interest.
tax
do
court
not
that
offer
takes care of
payment
that.
We don't have a payment plan opportunity for water sewer.
And so he'll accrue interest if he doesn't pay it in full.
So, just for my information, so what happens to that person? They can't pay that number, of course.
After a year, it gets liened on your property.
Then they get a payment plan.
Yeah, it ends up on their mortgage payment.
All right, thank you to the board. Is there anything else to come before the select board this evening? Otherwise I'll,
I get, sorry, just to follow up on that, and this might be, is there a way to look into offering payment options for the utilities? I don't know, I don't need that answer now, but if that can be a conversation, maybe Heather, that you follow up with.
I have lots of thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I'd be happy to share.
Thank you. Because I know we've had other ones that haven't been this high, but that have been significantly high, and
agreed.
they've made the commitment to try to want to work, but not being able to pay in full before the bills
Before the
due,
bills,
so
agreed.
I hate that they're being penalized if they're actually in good faith
In good
making
faith,
a
agreed.
good effort, so
Yep, I agree.
thank you.
I think it's certainly. Okay.
Motion to adjourn?
Alright, motion, is there a second?
Second.
Anything else? Alright, roll call, Harry,
Second, aye.
Women,
Matt's aye.
Alex,
What I?
and Ledger, aye. We are adjourned at 8:00 on the dot. Thank you.
Reserve. Wow, $10,000, big bill. Oh, yeah.
This much water and this much charges.
For nothing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
We're gonna try to beat their dissertation there. I would entertain them. No, it's coming in her memo. Alright, well, we can push it if you want, kid.
No, we, the more I read it, the more.
In all honesty, probably better to have a finance committee meeting where we can discuss it after, so that we're not. I'll make that motion one time.
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to, accept the meeting minutes from February 12th.
So moved.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Someone turn down the heat, it's getting colder in here.
Yep.
They turned it down?
I don't know if it goes off on a timer.
Just kicked it back up.
Thank you.
Had warmed up from 60 to 65
And now-
and it shut back down and I just pumped it back up to 67.
Thank you.
Yes. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Okay. We have a review memo from the town administrator, but she just stepped out. For a moment.
I think she left for good. Do you need her to come back?
I make the motion that we table this discussion and move it to a future meeting so that we can schedule, so Heather can be here and we can discuss it.
Okay.
This is the revolving fund.
Which memo was this?
If it's revolving fund, it's gonna take a
Still
little
on, right.
while, I think.
The memo that we got in tonight's package.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
this
the
one
one
here.
she sent a few weeks ago.
Yes,
Dated February 5th.
Correct, yeah.
Impacts of moving fees to the revolving fund?
yes.
In my opinion, it's gonna be easier to have that discussion when we're all fresh versus getting late.
I think the topic deserves a full spotlight.
Attention.
Full attention, and I agree. So
Okay.
Is there
just
a
think-
time crunch about it right now?
No.
If you need a second, I'll do a second.
I would say, I don't wanna keep. ending
We don't
in
wanna,
this
we want to
situation.
have our own meeting.
Yes, I think.
So, but that's gonna be the next discussion.
Okay.
I agree with you, we should do this another meeting, but I just wanna, this basically involves the discussion we were having about making a revolving fund, having a revolving fund for the building department revenues.
Right.
And then it morphed into everybody else.
No, I know, but I'm just saying that's
Yes,
the
that's how
basis.
this started.
Right, so I agree with that, but this has gotta have a lot of looking.
We have a motion made and seconded. Any other discussion?
To do what? Move it?
Move it, push it along a
Okay,
little bit.
good.
All those in favor?
I
Any opposed? Motion carries. So, if we should look at our schedule, guys, for the remaining finance committee meetings. So what we know of right now, if someone could help me,
I see March 12th and March 19th right there.
And then there's one, we're with the, next Wednesday with the, charter committee, right?
So is that the
Yes.
25th?
the 25th.
6:30.
So we have March 12th. We have next Wednesday, which is the 25th.
Mhm.
And we have March 19th.
And I won't be here on the 19th.
Would anybody like to have a meeting in between that? Or do we wanna go the week I mean, you're,
March 12th is what, is that the one with the schools?
Yeah, there's back to back with schools, 12th and 19th.
Oh, okay,
APAP is the 12th, Massachusetts the 19th.
March 12th is one, okay, cause their budget, they're gonna vote on that Monday, right? Wachusett, the 9th. At least that's what.
yes,
So we'll have.
What would potential agenda items be? You're talking something like March 5th
or, well,
or
I-
after March 19th?
we have two, for now, we have 2 dates before the 12th. We can either go the 26th or the 5th, but we gotta talk about this revolving thing, fund issue.
Are we expecting that the meeting on next Wednesday will consume us the way these budget discussions have?
Yep, I think it will.
Oh,
Next Wednesday is a meeting with the charter commission, right?
I don't know that
Okay,
it's,
all right.
I don't know that it's gonna be,
Have you seen the draft copy of the charter?
Yes,
Should
we
get a
leave it
copy
separate.
of it. It'll take some discussion.
We should do it.
I haven't read it yet. But you sent it in the charter, draft charter, did you put it in?
it's not out yet.
No,
Somebody did, so
I don't.
We don't have it, it
Heather
hasn't been
sent it.
publicized
Heather may have
yet.
sent it.
Heather might have sent
I
it to
think
us.
Heather did. I can find it and upload it to the SharePoint, cause I know it's out there. I just think it was
I
Heather
have
that
it, so
sent
I,
it.
and I didn't look for it, so I think
think it
Heather
might
might have sent it in an email as an attachment.
Do we need to see the whole thing, or could you just send us the finance committee part of it?
But doesn't the finance committee relate to other items in the charter? Other
Yep.
other
Yep.
You
parts
wanna
of
see
it?
the whole one? Okay. Could you send that in an email as well, not to the SharePoint, whatever that is?
Could I ask that one of the things that we do in this next meeting or whenever is actually sit down and have a conversation with Heather in regards to where these things are coming in? Yes, we have lists, but like, will these cuts in public safety be during the day? Will it be during night? There's a lot of questions. We haven't really had a chance. We just kind of had things kind of thrown at us. We haven't had any real discussion.
So I also have a meeting, and it may be just the select board, but on the 26th of March, it was supposed to be a budget general discussion. I don't, because I put select board stuff with the budget in here too, so I keep track
That, I think that was on our original budget calendar.
with all of us.
Yeah, and I don't
Like,
know that we've
wrap it up
solidified
now,
it, yeah,
So that
so
would
there's
be,
probably flexibility there too.
because I think we were going to do the schools on the 5th, so maybe we thought we'd take a few weeks, couple of weeks to digest
So,
stuff, but.
Karen, what's your understanding that we're gonna have from Heather an accurate budget by when?
After the school votes it in?
Which they're gonna meet with us on the 12th, right?
Yeah, but is
There's
that after?
One of them is the
19th
12th.
other.
When I
But-
asked her tonight, she said she hoped by the end of the first week of March, she would have their firm
Their
number.
numbers.
When do they vote?
School committee votes on March 9th to approve the budget, and they have not provided us with anything yet.
Not even a clue?
So Bay Path is on the 12th and Wachusett's on the 19th.
Oh, they pass on the 12th, not what you said? Oh,
I've got that wrong, but those are the right dates, but I don't know.
No, you're right, cause Brandy sent out, I wanna say in like December, like to all 5 towns and was like, grab your date while you can, and that was the earliest.
So the only other way we're gonna get to Karen's question in a reasonable amount of time is we're gonna have to have another meeting one of the weeks. Like, to get,
I mean, maybe I'm the only one that really
no,
cares.
No.
I might be the
Let's
only
not-
one, I don't wanna
Can I-
bother you, but I just figured,
that's not,
But
Yeah.
let's also let's make sure that the request of the town administrator is clear, right?
Well,
Absolutely.
but I wanna maybe push back a little bit, that if it was me making those decisions, I would say the numbers say you have to do this, but it's up to the departments to decide
That's what, that was gonna be
whether
my next
for
thing,
the
it's like,
police, if it's during the
well,
day.
and that's where I was going with my point of if you guys are gonna do this, it's gonna be a little better defined. And
need to
I
understand
got
that. If we're
pushback
gonna be
because it's not a
expected to go
budget.
out
Is that one?
and sell
That's
this,
their proposed
we have to
cuts,
understand
tiered
what's
override
happening.
approach.
So I
But
got
I think
something I
that
wanna
comes
say.
from the departments.
Or even if they still have an override.
She's gotta get it from the
Don't
departments, I don't
want
really
to do an
care, but
override.
we gotta know,
Okay,
cause to me, everyone leaves the town during the day.
So this is where I was going with my question about this. But I don't know when that's an appropriate time. We have to decide and pin them down.
it could be,
Go ahead, Tom.
So my 2 cents is, I think we should meet in the next couple of weeks before we even get, because the school budget will know, you're gonna have a good inkling at that meeting. And then the school committee always votes on their budget the second week of March. That's what it's been for the last 17 years.
It's the
So we'll know
9th.
the actual number by then for sure. But we could meet a week or two, those 2 dates in between there. And I think part of this discussion should be, we're not telling them where to cut money or put money or whatever, right? That we've all agreed that that's not our job. That's up to the department heads, the town administrator, et cetera, just like you just said. But I think the overall philosophy that I wanna look at or ask about or say my opinion about is, I don't understand why it's a straight across the board cut. Because taking it, you just said fire and ambulance, they bring money in. And were you gonna cut services to the townspeople when they're bringing money in? Now, I know it's a tough discussion to have to put onto everything, I understand that. But then this goes back to the same discussion we've already had with the building inspector's department or the inspector's department. They bring in a chunk of money over and above what it costs for them to be there, and those fees were originally put in for that, to cover those costs, which they've been above. And if you've read anything about other towns around, and there was a couple of memos, and there was a couple other things that I read that said other towns do have, the fees that are charged for building permits, et cetera, also cover some of the other fixed costs or investments that towns made in years past before these new properties were developed, whatever, right? So some of that money was expanded to be more than what the actual salaries added up to be some money for revenue for the town. So then you're talking about this revolving account. Revolving accounts are supposed to be, it costs you this much, that's what your revolving account should bring in. It's not supposed to be, if you read the law about a revolving account, that's what they're supposed to be. So I would like to have a meeting where we can sit and say, okay, what the philosophy behind saying you're just making this unilateral cut, I don't know if that's good for the town. I think we should look at what are essential services, what are essential things you gotta have, and maybe other things. I know it's not a popular thing, and I know it's not good to do, because people get mad about it, but maybe there's gotta be something else, it just gotta be cut out, period. And I don't know what the answer to that is right now. And then the money, well, there's still money left for the essential services. So that's why I think we should meet with Heather, because obviously she's the one that's preparing the budget.
I think we, in order for that meeting to be productive though, and not cover every department in the cut budget, we should direct her ahead of time to say, can you also look at a budget that recognizes, you know, the relative revenue value of a given department and not do a even
Well, that's why I think we
job
should,
budget. But if
Yeah,
you
but I
do
don't know
that
if
ahead
there's-
of time,
I
no,
don't know
we
if
should do
those
it at our
3 point
meeting.
There's not enough in any of these other,
Even if
I
it's got
don't- I
everything
don't
else
agree.
down, we're not gonna say $3.1 million.
I understand that, right? And I think part of this exercise that I think you're asking for correctly is to lay out exactly how dumb it would be to just cut it.
Well, and I'll go back to, and it's just me putting my point across, but what does it cost to do business? And the fact that we have some items, for, let's say Vadar, for instance, it's all in one place, but if we, and again, it's if we cut this from here, maybe completely, then that part of Vadar comes out because the users aren't using them, or even if we cut down some of the staff, users aren't using some of this. And we don't put how much each department is using for benefits in there. So we don't have a really good, and then in part of that too is what revenue do they bring in? What would they lose if they don't have these many people, as you've said? And all I'm doing is just reiterating what people have said, but we don't have a clear picture of what a department fully brings in and what they fully expend.
I just think it should be done at a meeting so that we can have back and forth, because sometimes questions are not, what you put down for a
It's not
question.
gonna be her that's gonna have that answer. You'd have to have police, fire,
No, I'm not talking,
DPW.
no,
Everybody would have to be here in order to say like, this is how I would do it.
no, that's not what I'm saying.
But
Because
how else are you
because the
gonna weigh
overall
it?
budget, the department heads didn't say how much they were gonna cut. The town, the budget, we've got the budget number, it's coming from the town administrator. Our bylaws says the town administrator's gotta finalize the budget.
Right, but what I hear you asking for is not doing a straight down cut, but having the cuts be more strategic, right?
Very strategic.
Very strategic, great. I don't think the town administrator is equipped to tell you where those strategic cuts would have to be made. You'd have to end up talking to the department heads. That's why I say that.
But if we had that
You
discussion,
want to prep and just say like, what would a strategic cut look like? What would, and have her talk to the department heads.
is it our?
Is it our lane?
Yeah. It's not our lane, guys.
Nope. Select board put out a rule and said, here's what it is. So now they balance the budget. So now what I wanna understand is, these are the positions, these are the cuts. I wanna talk about them, I wanna understand them.
Right.
Cause they're asking us to be there in the boat with them, rowing forward but right now, I can't speak to them. All I can say is, oh, well, it's this and it's this. I wanna have a much better understanding that, you know, not just that we're open 2 days a week. I wanna understand that the cuts of the FTEs are gonna happen during the night shift versus the day shift, or they're gonna be through the day and available at night. I wanna understand all of that, because that's all the stuff that's gonna make a difference.
But I think that goes back to the department heads, right? Right now, all she's done is cut. And then
She's
said,
made the
like,
cuts.
And I think it's the department heads that will make those decisions that you're interested in. No?
Well, but she's the one that's going to have to sit with them and ask those questions.
Yes,
Right.
and then I want her to come in and tell me.
Right, exactly. So that's
prep for the
when
meeting.
when you're cutting those 4 FTEs, where are they coming from? Day, night, weekends, what?
And I think that's.
But is that our lane?
To ask? Most definitely.
absolutely,
We have to understand what we're selling.
absolutely.
We have to sell it.
Okay.
Sell an
I'm-
override.
Yeah, we have to
I'm
sell
not
it.
in disagreement,
No.
I'm
Have
just.
to sell
I
it.
think it
Right.
helps paint the picture too, right? I think that's the important part that I don't wanna lose
I
on
mean,
this.
here we are, the end of February.
Right.
And really, we haven't spoken about a cut budget, except in very big generalities. And in order for us to sell this override, I know I need to understand what it's going to do. Not just 2 days of work and these people, I wanna understand what it means.
And they talk full-time equivalents, so that's not necessarily a person, that's could be partial people.
Right. I just wanna understand it. I'm sorry, I have to hear it and discuss it.
But we need to, what you're saying, and I agree 100%. We need to know that, so when we sit in front of the townspeople and we recommend this, we gotta know what's going on with the whole thing. So when we say to them, this is good for you, or it's not good for you. That's what we're supposed to be doing. And can I add one more thing to this?
Absolutely.
That goes along with this. The comment was made earlier about, you asked about the unemployment, I think you asked about the unemployment stuff. That should be in the cut budget numbers. What are we gonna do? Pass a budget with it comes down to X amount of dollars, and then July 1st say, oh, well, we lay off those people, I'm coming back to you for emergency fund transfer to cover the.
It's not gonna-
It's gonna do it as a free cash.
Free cash.
That's okay, but it's still gonna be part of the whole overall picture. The overall budget that we're looking at right now.
Right,
You
so free
should,
cash
you should
needs to-
actually cut more to cover that.
Well, whatever it requires, we should.
How much
Because-
is the number gonna, I know you don't wanna speculate, how much is it?
There's no way to know,
No,
because you don't know the
because
people.
What would you
I'd have,
guess?
no, I have no idea. I'd have to see how many people, what they make.
Well,
how,
they
you
told
know.
us.
Yeah, but it doesn't tell you which ones, it doesn't tell you what they're making, it all, but it's.
So we asked her for this information.
But to Lynn's point, one FTE might not unemploy anybody. It may just reduce hours.
But they can still file for
Still
unemployment.
That's
fine.
underemployment then?
Yes.
Yep,
And does that only last 1 year, or does it go on?
6 months.
26.
I don't know what the
26
state did.
26 weeks.
They
So
extended it at one point,
it's
didn't
less
they?
than, I mean, it's within that 1 year
It
period.
is a one-time
It is a one,
expenditure,
okay.
but like,
But
we
is it
should cut
cost?
more because we don't know.
Just to cover
We don't know
ourselves.
that we have
Right.
free cash anyway.
Where do you see,
So anyways, all that said, I think we should have another meeting.
What do we see what?
where do you see FTEs on this page?
It's on this,
Oh, the front
Single
one.
front.
But that doesn't agree with this one, cause they told me 5 people. Am I wrong?
Oh, here's an FTE.
You gotta
Are you
kinda
talking
read.
about-
No, but then look at this, doesn't tell me, it tells me 5 guys.
Are you talking about fire,
No,
for instance?
this info for Rutland voters that we got, it's 3 pages, guys.
Yeah.
Let's open that up.
Is there an extra
online.
copy of that?
Here, you can look at
Oh,
mine.
it's online.
It's online.
No, you can
I
get,
live online.
Yeah, I don't, cause
Is that in the
this-
news
I
materials?
didn't, I
much
didn't
crap.
print it.
In this
Oh,
pile
yes, it
here,
is.
in this pile here, we got this tonight, it's a 3-pager. Info for Rutland voters proposed tiered override.
yep,
This page, if you
Yep.
go to police, it says
I see public safety.
4 police officers.
So
Where,
And then on this book, in this one,
this document doesn't talk about full-time equivalents, it's just talking people in
yeah,
general.
but no, it gets better.
oh, right here, 4 police, I see.
4 police officers, but then here, this sheet, the single pager, says 3.5.
It says three
So it's
point
not
five and
consistent.
another position was reduced by 20 hours, so you're
That's-
talking about
but
4.
that's-
4, but it's F, to Karen's points, FTE. Doesn't say FTEs on this.
It says
Is
full
there's a difference, right?
How granular
Oh,
do you wanna
FTE
get?
altogether, cause I don't think residents are gonna understand what that means.
Whoa,
I
that's,
think a lot more might understand it than you think.
So,
but there's a difference.
It's gotta match.
There is a difference.
maybe we make them, I put like a little sentence that
that's-
says, here's the
I
definition of it.
don't have.
On this page right here, on the 3-page, it says,
Anyway, it's
Info
not
for
necessarily
Rutland
inconsistent, it's just
proposed tiered override.
simplified.
That's what I-
but we're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
the
what's,
second page.
to Karen's point, what's an FTE?
Sure.
Is it an actual person or we,
It could actually be 3 people.
No,
be-
full-time equivalent is 40 hours of work.
Now wait a minute, is it 32? Is it 40? Is it 34?
Because full-time is
I got one
32
more to throw
hours,
in
right?
this. I have a question at some point I'm gonna ask. Is it 37 and a half?
Right.
So the thing is that if you say
Which is a number of hours
For
I've worked in the last
officers.
3 days.
But all the years I've done
Is that the
budgets
Still be
and payrolls,
3.5.
FTE is 40 hours.
it could be the same.
But you can't,
mix.
you can't
Can't
do
mix
both.
them.
You gotta-
But and we don't know.
And that's where I was going in the meeting, if you guys are gonna do this, it has to happen. And I wanna know what that means. If we're gonna, like Tommy says, stand up and,
And that's why I wanna have a meeting to go over it, cause I don't feel comfortable at this point.
no.
I think she needs to prepare for that
And
conversation.
she's not
because it's
and
gonna-
she's not gonna feel comfortable till after the school and they have the final numbers for the
Then we
budget.
need to meet the 5th of March,
No, so that we will not have.
or even later.
Later.
Okay.
We would need to
But
be,
we're already starting to put stuff out, so she should be able to speak to us on this.
But can't we
Yeah,
have
that's
it,
true,
why
too.
couldn't we have a meeting either next Thursday or the 5th and ask the questions so she understands our
Yes,
rationale?
I agree with that, 100%.
Because we
That's a
wanna
good
have,
idea.
we wanna have a revolving funds meeting anyway. And so maybe we can
could
combine.
we,
Because before the school,
questions.
before the budget is finalized, let's say with the school numbers, you can still answer the questions where, in her opinion, where she thinks these
in the
Well,
twenty-fourth.
full-time equivalents
The
are coming from.
24th is when I gotta go, so we can't do that one.
Cause
And,
we're putting it all out there
The 24th
now.
of what, March?
February,
Oh, February.
that's next Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Oh, no, I don't want.
And the numbers will not be final by then, and they will not share them with you.
I don't even give generalizations.
So we got either a week from tonight or 2 weeks from tonight before we hit the school meetings.
I think we should go on the 26th. Does everybody agree with that?
February 26th.
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with that.
One more night.
Just from
Go ahead.
I think if we choosing to report things, cuts or increases, doing it by FTEs and just defining that FTE equals 40 hours is easier understood than cutting
People?
the number of people, because not everybody's working the same number of hours. That's the only, if you just say FTE equals 40,
Cause
people
then
can
it
do the
gets
math.
muddy, because if you say you're gonna cut 4 people, 4 FTEs, and then they know,
So we get the,
Joe Public knows that, you know, however many people,
want
and
a
they're like, well, I
motion for that?
still
No.
see
the 25th
people,
is
what
the
happened
charter
to the
committee,
cuts?
correct?
Hmm?
25th is the charter kid,
charter,
and then the next night we'll meet.
next Thursday.
The 26th.
Yes.
Sounds good. You got a busy week next week.
2 days?
He's got
In
two
a row? 2 days in a row?
Our smiling faces.
And it's the same with firefighters. They said 5 firefighters / paramedics, and on this one it says 4.
Okay.
And,
Yeah, but it says firefighter / paramedics.
and
That's way different than a clerical.
I'm sure people would feel different about it.
All right, so on the agenda for the 26th, I would like to include the revolving fund memo. We would like some clarification, how do we wanna say it, Karen? About,
Not clarification,
We wanna
discussion on proposed cuts.
and we would
Detailed
like-
discussion.
And if the town administrator could make the meeting, we would greatly appreciate it.
She's gonna have to.
Well, she
Okay,
doesn't
so-
have to, but
Well,
we're
and
gonna
then
have to.
But if we can't get her here, then we have to have
No,
another
I think she'll
meeting.
be, she'll be here, but we
Because
just
she's the
gotta,
one that has
we
to.
gotta request
Right, if
it.
she can't make it, then we have to know that so that we can reschedule.
Well, would we, or are we going to come up with some solid questions for
We're gonna
her?
ask her questions, she's not gonna walk in with the information. We're gonna tell her what we're looking for.
We got plenty to talk about.
But I think what someone was saying is if she's not able to be there, should we still get together, generate the questions and send them?
Yes.
I think so.
Because the other thing I was gonna ask about, I asked,
That's the
I had
backup.
2 weeks or 3 weeks ago about the reserve fund to list out
She should be able to
this year
answer
to give
these
us a
questions.
report on what we put into it. I know we put, town meeting had money in it, then we added more money to it. And then what was spent, so we had a list. And we got
Yeah,
2
we
numbers
asked
tonight.
that. So I've got one question, if I can ask, I don't, is it,
Absolutely.
but is it, it's not on the agenda.
Budget
No,
related.
it's budget related.
It's budget related, you're right.
course it
So
is.
when we, the meeting of October 2nd of 25 was the meeting that we talked about the assessment for the school being 120,000 maybe plus or minus a bit. And we decided to ask for the $60,900 to go into the reserve funds with a note that the members agreed that they would prioritize the dollar amount of the $60,900 for school-related expenses. I see on the paper that we got from Kate that $90,900 went into the account. But I don't know where the extra $30,000 came from. So
You have
I-
Is that what we had in the beginning?
It's a reserve fund.
No, but is that what we started with? What do we start
We
with? What do we
started
put
with
in there?
25. On July 1, we started with 25. So either we
Had a,
added the 60,900 and then said, oh, and give us another 30, which I don't recollect.
we didn't know
No, you
that.
can't do that, I mean, just.
Right? I
Well,
mean,
we
it
could
went-
have
it
been
went-
out of the special meeting in November.
And I don't have the
I don't think we
minutes
had
for
it
that.
I don't think so either,
I
but
thought-
I'm saying it could.
Yeah, we did, it was a special, but that was the money we came back from the school in
That was the
November.
school.
So I think we're $30,000 over because I don't know where this 90,900 came from.
We need to have.
Yes,
a
well, that's why
reserve.
we need an
should be able
accounting
to-
from the accountant.
Right.
Kate should be able to
And she
tell
needs,
us that.
so I am happy to ask her that.
You
So
have that
I
word.
will do that and ask her what the details of that 90,900, and we may all have just gotten about $30,000.
But you would think we'd do it as two different things. One for the school and then one for everything else. You'd want, I don't know. For
We
me,
didn't
that's
do
how
it
I
that
do
way
it.
though. We did
That's-
Yeah,
60.
but it's all in just one account, that's the
Yeah, but
thing.
you'd still put in that this is the one from the
Well,
school.
we must have got it at the
I don't
special.
think we.
I do
And maybe it was.
I do
Right?
2 journal entries for that.
I would have done.
Oh, I do
journal
too.
We
I
got
would
it at
do
a special town meeting, right?
Right,
Right.
when we adjusted all
This
the.
was
We wanna
done
see the
11.5.
transactions, right? That's what we wanna do.
That was 11.5 is when that was put in. Our town meeting wasn't until the 20-something.
Right, so she
Right?
jumped the she jumped the gun, and it was Donna who jumped the gun. So, but it should be recorded what those journal entry details were. So just to let you know then, if it was $60,900, we're down to $47.44, which is getting well below for what we were hoping to
Prioritize. for the schools.
prioritize for the schools.
That's what your point is.
Well, we used, the key word there is prioritize, if we had to spend it on the things we had to spend it on, so.
Well, I mean,
Right.
I think
Well,
some of the
okay.
things were,
But if we use the word
unanticipated, but-
prioritize and we leave everything sit there till June 30th, then
No, I think that we just work with a little more scrutiny going forward, that it is truly, maybe we look at more of the emergency
well,
Do we have a,
versus.
I had a question on that last one for what, what was it, $2,800 or something we just?
2,100?
I mean,
I'm not.
that's not an emergency or unexpected, whatever.
Right, so, and
Whatever.
we've spent, out of the
That was
reserve fund, we've
$2,800,
done
so.
close to $39,000 already
Right.
this year. And I know that almost 29 of it was, but.
Yep,
so you guys feel good about February 25th charter committee meeting to ask civil questions and be,
Read the charter.
Read it.
feel
Right
good
after
about it,
weekends
no,
for.
but I wanna meet. Actually, feel good about it, no, but I wanna meet.
Got any, I think we're getting a little bit of the feel for what it's gonna be looking like when it's in it.
Right,
Tamika, when is the select board voting on transmitting the override to the town clerk's office?
So that I don't know, so I reached out to town council this week to have them draft the language for it. The clerk's office needs it by the end of the day on April 8th. So depending on when I hear back from town council, my hope is that it will be their second meeting in March, which is March 16th.
How long does it usually take town council to come back?
Not too long, but our primary counsel is on vacation this week, so I am not certain that it'll get seen until next week. I CC'd a couple other people, but Roger tends to be the primary that responds to us.
We're
I don't
still,
wanna see that checked off and set.
we're still proceeding with a tiered strategy on this.
Correct. Yes,
To the
yep, he's
best
been
of our
asked to draft
knowledge,
language for
yes.
a tiered override.
No, but that, I was reading in between the lines that was probably one of the reasons he wanted extra time for legal review. Cause that was one of the. Town,
Oh, that's for the warrant.
Rob?
Just in general terms, I think in the past, it has been so tight that sometimes when you guys have your joint meeting to recommend, we haven't gotten the final word back from town council on all of the warrant articles. And so there's been some
The last couple of years.
hesitation to make a recommendation. So the thought was, if we move the whole process up, we're not so rushed.
But
Yeah.
that will have that article.
And the other list, the guy just said, I had written this down, we just talked about the reserve fund list, list the whole thing out for us for this year. But the revenue list too, that list that we already got, that's got no numbers in it. Another question tonight from the, not a question, but a point of, information, planning board, that should be on that list of revenues. What did they collect? It should have been there so we could see it.
And for some reason, it's hard to get this information, that.
Well,
revenue
and the
list.
other thing I wanted to say, and I just wanna make this one quick statement. Karen remembers, I know she does, and I've been on the finance board for a while now, but when we used to get all those different reports, whether it was the tax title stuff, the revenues, everything was detailed, and we automatically got all those because you need to look at the whole picture if you're gonna make decisions. And we used to get those without having that, and we've had that, I know, because I've asked for them the last 2 or 3 years to get those reports.
You didn't.
Right, and we still didn't
we
get some
didn't
of them.
need them.
No,
I'm
but
just
I-
saying,
Just to be a little positive with it maybe is that we've got all new people, right? Not,
I'm not gonna be,
Not
no,
here.
no, no.
No?
Because the rules are that we're supposed to get the information, so we make decisions. Whoever is in those positions should be doing it.
they should know that, but,
No, I didn't say they should know it, they should be doing it.
right.
If they don't know it, then somebody should be telling them that.
But there is new people in those positions,
Well,
and we have to let them know that what they're supposed to be doing.
that too.
That should be in their job description.
We haven't got, well,
I bet they don't know.
I'll entertain a motion to adjourn unless someone
Nope.
has
I
anything else.
just, I have one more comment, I know you don't like me making comments, but, no, I got a question. School meeting when's that school meeting on Tuesday?
When?
Yeah, it's it's on Tuesday, but what
Where
time?
and when?
Yeah,
It's in the.
Media centers?
Media center library
at the school,
at the
At-
school,
what time?
7.
7?
Can
Would you-
anyone go?
Yes, if you guys would like to go, I could really,
No, you can go, I'm
I'm gonna
I'm
be
gonna-
there.
I'm gonna try to be
Spend
there.
quality time with my
oh, good,
significant other.
yes.
So Darren, can I
You
just
know you call
clarify?
it that.
For next week's meeting, we would just have revolving fund discussion about their proposed cuts in detail. Is there anything that I'm missing? Did you wanna have a discussion about the reserve fund, or are you just gonna go through Kate to get that answer?
I think I can get
Well,
just,
you can
and then I
get,
can report back, I guess.
Okay.
Any other
Put it on the agenda so we can
Yeah.
talk
Yeah,
about
just
it.
put it on.
Just in case.
When you're ready.
And then any other budget related items, because there'll be something else that will come up.
Karen,
Or anything
no,
we'll
I
talk
just,
about.
you mentioned, when we talked about before about, when I was questioning about being responsible, you mentioned during the meeting that the FinCom didn't approve their budget last year, but I clearly remember we did, because we asked for that money for the fees, and this is why I keep saying that when we do something as the finance board, we need to make a motion and say that's what we wanna do as a group. Earlier, when I talked about the planning board being responsible for their budget,
We were not responsible for our own last year.
yes, we were. We talked about it, well, that's what I'm saying, I don't wanna see the wrong information. We talked about it, we talked about adding the extra money in for the, to be sure that
Do
the,
you know that they cut out our fees for dues?
before that, yes, that's why we asked to put it
Did
back
you know?
in.
I must have missed that meeting. I thought I made it to all of them, but I don't remember anyone
Recording in progress.
that they were taking that out. I might have missed that meeting,
And,
make all of them, but
and I
maybe I
think
missed
that
it.
Mr. Mattson over here said something, he's, well, they didn't do the Cape one. He didn't show up to the meeting last year, we asked where it was and we wanted the budget. We knew that there was gonna be X amount of dollars coming out of the PEG thing, but we never got the information to us and that group never came to see us last year.
I think it was more Austin than anything.
I don't disagree with you, I'm just saying, we did go over those things last year. Cause I always ask about that budget, and I will keep asking about it. Anyways,
It
this is
is
my 3
interesting that the
cents.
planning board didn't vote on their own budget. And I think it's interesting that we don't have a concrete recommendation when we talk to DPW or we say like, hey, you should increase. I feel like to some extent, we should make a motion that says like, finance board recommends that you put X amount in snow and ice.
We can do
We
that
should.
we can do that on our spreadsheet. We can put in a file that, a column that says TA recommended. We can do that.
I'm just, like, the action items out of the meetings that we've had aren't crystal to me, right? Like, we talked about doing certain various numbers on snow and ice. We didn't say like, we all
Cause they
agree
were gonna
this
work
is what's
through it
gonna
and then
happen,
get
right?
back to us, that's, that, when they.
Everything's worked through and get back.
But what you're saying is 100%. If we talk about it and we decide as a group that we really probably should look at bringing that, we should say that. Look, we make a motion that we think that in this particular instance, that this should be raised up for the benefit of the town. Absolutely.
Lock it
But
in.
what's happened the last, and I'm just telling you this because obviously I've been here, that a lot of the things we did, we'd say, well, are we all in agreement on that? And it would just be done. We need to put things into a motion or some kind of detail so it goes in the record, because that's a historic record and it should be there. If somebody wants to look that up in 6 months, it should be there.
Well, this is also why I asked for the bullets from the town
Right.
administrator, because I think we talked about a bunch of stuff, but I can't double check when we get it back.
DPW came
That's
in
like,
and
hey,
changed
wait a minute.
numbers that were different.
But I don't think we would make a motion to say, you should take snow and ice and raise it by 10,000. That's not, we shouldn't do that. We should say, we recommend you do a.
Recommend,
We
yes.
thought,
We
and
only recommend.
and we recommend that because of this, and this.
We thought it would be a good decision.
Right.
There's been several people that have come through here in our groups, that their budget numbers, whatever they're carrying for paperwork, don't match anything what we have.
Absolutely right.
And we've,
Asked questions.
and we try.
Yep.
That's why I'm asking for a fresh copy once we get everybody finished. So that way we can kind of go through it. I know I want to go through it with a fine tooth comb once I get a final copy, is then I want to go through and actually see what's there, because in the past, I'm not accusing anybody, but in the past, things have changed at the last minute.
Karen, that goes through exactly what I'm saying on these,
Yeah,
these things that
change
we
at the
got
last
tonight.
minute.
Well, we gotta make,
You gotta make.
they have to have, if you're gonna do it and you gotta say it, it can't change.
Right.
Like free cash instead of whatever.
But going back to what Ludwig just said too, and what Karen said, I know it hasn't been the last 2 or 3 years because we've had different administrators coming and going, but just before that, in our old bylaws and even into some of the new era there always used to be, that's what the column was. Requested, and then it was Finance Committee recommendation, it said Finance Committee recommendation. And still by the state law, the Finance Committee, by our current bylaw, the Finance Committee is supposed to put the budget forward at the town meeting.
So,
We don't make it up and we take it from them and then we review it and we make our recommendations and present it to the town.
so we'll go to the charter committee. we gotta go in and be,
Nice.
and be not, we have to be nice but firm, right? You can't go in and get in a proverbial fist fight and they're over it.
Well, maybe you might have to, but if it's for the benefit of the town, I'm ready to fist
You
fight.
say for the benefit of the town, I've been sitting here kind of mulling over. If we advise.
I gotta look at
That doesn't
it.
mean our word is
You
gospel,
definitely-
which means
Is it in
all
the,
we can do
is
is
it
advise. and-
in the,
Wait till the meeting's over.
But it would have been nice that the charter committee would have asked the committees that are doing the job.
I'll make a motion, I'll make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second? All those in favor?
Aye.
Alright.
Sorry, who seconded?
Karen.
Karen.